There are a lot of mysteries in life. Who ate all my snacks? Why are women not impressed by my juggling? And what's a unique ancestry that I can bring to my next TTRPG game night? The answer to those questions are, I ate my snacks. They are impressed, but you should have a wide variety of hobbies and interests. And you can find unique ancestries with Battlezoo and their Year of Mysteries. Every month in 2026, Battlezoo delivers a fresh, bizarre, and lovingly unhinged ancestry straight to your inbox. Get ready to spice up your D&D or Pathfinder game faster than a wizard's bad life choices. Why settle for elves again when you can play as 13 unique and bizarre ancestries, such as a grumpy Sasquatch, a sea serpent with anger issues, or a dinosaur person, a guy ceratops, a girlociraptor, a human saurus rex. You don't have to use any of these names, but you do get to play as a dinosaur with a great sword, and that seems awesome.
But Jack, this is the Year of Mysteries, so let's get mysterious. With each new ancestry, every month you'll also find a puzzle. Solve each and input the solution at battlezoo.com to slowly reveal the year-long secret and become a seeker of mysteries. There's a leaderboard for puzzle solvers, and if you solve all 12, you'll earn a free prize as you unlock the final truth, as well as one last secret you can add to your games. What could it be? The color of my underpants?
Mine have pictures of fish on them. Head on over to yearofmysteries.com and start uncovering the clues today. I can juggle for a long time.
It's time for Roll for Combat.
Look at that. We're live. We got Derik. We got Mark. Mark, who are we?
Who are we? We are Roll for Combat and Derik Malenda. I'm Mark Seifter. I am the Director of Game Design at Roll for Combat. Stephen Glicker is the publisher at Roll for Combat, and Derik Malenda is our most frequent guest and the brains behind Knights of Last Call.
I think you're the RFC Surf. I think that's what we should call you.
That's actually pretty reasonable. Well, especially because if you really think about the concept of serfdom versus a free man, right? I am bound to you by land, but I don't receive payment. I receive basically the ability to live, and I get like room and board. So if we like think about medieval servitude and the feudal system, right? I don't pay you rent. You don't pay me money. You pay me in land, and I pay you in back with work. Correct. So yes,
there's got to be something slightly different for it though, because one of the things you gain from that is more freedom, and serfs traditionally had less freedom.
I feel like I have no freedom, Mark. I feel like
really, but you have more freedom at cons because since you're not being paid, you can kind of just go wander off and do whatever you want.
That's true. I have a lot more flexibility in that regard. Yes.
Hey man, you get free room and board.
Yes.
You get to go hang out with the bigwigs. And
you're overvaluing something that isn't necessarily that valuable to me.
Okay, you don't want to go to Gary Con?
Wait, hold on. Even though a Gary Con that Stephen got you is not something you value.
That is pretty sweet.
You don't want to have Zeb Cook and all those legendary
to
DMs?
be fair.
Luke Gygax? All right, I'll take it.
Steven what did you do? Stupid thing.
Stop raising your hand.
Because of AI. AI is ruining everything.
Oh, because you raised, yes.
I raised my
his hand in real life, and so it raised his hand in Zoom.
Yes, exactly. But anyways, I was gonna say that was a gift to you regardless. You just happened to bequeath it to me as a good feudal lord does.
I paid for it.
Well, that's my point. But you were gonna pay for it anyways, is what I'm saying.
No, I wasn't.
Well, I thought it came with your legendary promotion thing.
No, I bought it.
Oh, okay.
For you.
He bought it for you.
All right. Well, in that case, I humbly thank you, my lord, for this most ostentatious gift and
show of largesse.
Yes, your largesse is bequeathed upon me. Thy noble spirit shines truly radiantly from heaven. The divine mandate is indeed made manifest.
You're gonna like it. It's gonna be.
Yeah, Dr. Waits, I'm gonna be at Gary Con. It's gonna be my first Gary Con.
Whoops. It will be your first Gary Con.
Okay, I found the stupid button. I turned it off.
Second one, by the way.
Oh, sec. I'm holding.
All right, cool.
Also, everyone, give us credit. Give Stephen credit. The sound worked from the beginning, didn't it?
Yep, it did.
It's pretty good.
Shut up. All right. So before we get into this topic, I actually have something fairly interesting I wanted to talk about, which I didn't.
Are you saying our topics aren't normally fairly interesting, Steve?
I am saying nothing we do is interesting.
You know,
but-
look, Derik has certain outsized influences. Here's what it is, right? If you come onto this show and it's like a deep conversation about RPG mechanics, philosophy, the intrinsic, that's a Derik Mark topic. Okay.
Right.
If it's clickbait hype or something about the 80s or 90s and miscellaneous baseball, that's a Steven Glicker topic.
I can agree with that.
Not only did the Mets lose Diaz, but they lost Alonso. Alonso also left.
By the way, you must have had a really short stream last night, Mark, because I had some people leave my stream because they said, I got to go watch Arcane Mark. And then they came back and they were like, oh, it wasn't that long of a stream.
His streams are always short.
Yeah, but we had an especially short one because it was specifically talking about how to run games that are like dark in theme, but that are not like the super darkest, and to avoid some of the pitfalls that can mess you up. And Derik, I actually referenced one of the stories you told me for one of the pitfalls, which I knew about before, but you gave a really good example of it when you had, and I didn't want to say the name of the game because I wasn't sure if it was Scum and Villainy or something else, but you had your friends playing and they eventually had to quit because they were like,
it was Scum and Villainy.
I love this character. It's one of the best characters I've ever played. And you were like, is my GMing bad? Was the plot better? No, the plot was great. We liked it, but it is so much more stressful than even my daily life, which is already stressful.
Right.
That I just can't.
Yes.
And so we put that as like the number one pitfall of dark gaming is that you have to like be very attentive to like give some lightning moments and controlling how it's going up and down, because even if you're doing a wonderful dark game, it can wind up just getting too dark. And so that's what it was kind of about when we had a few other tips, but we were over in like 20 minutes.
All right, good. So here, check this out. So I got this book, The Dark Crystal.
Very cool book.
This book is fantastic. I can't believe how good this book is.
It's a little, obviously, it's fairly niche. But,
but I love The Dark Crystal so much that the family in Alucard in my game is based off the Skeksis and the, what are they, Yorkai?
Essence of Gelfling.
So this is what this book does. That's really cool. It has all these pages that flip out. Okay, which is, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's something interesting. And they do something else really cool. Is they have these pages, and then the other page is see-through, and then you flip that page on, and you can see like where traps are and stuff. Okay, so this I thought was fascinating because I've never seen books do this. I've never really seen books do like these.
The Labyrinth kind of did that, which was the book that they did before that.
Correct. Well, they're called gatefolds. So there's a gatefold, and I'm like, gatefolds are very rare. But then it's
kind of a gimmick.
Well, guess what? I got this book in the mail. This is the new Draconic Codex, by the way. I got two of them by accident, so I didn't charge me two, so I gotta let them know. And then I looked at it, and I saw all these things on the side. You see that? You see how the edges is all messed up of my book? I thought they didn't cut it correctly at the printer, and I was like, there are more gatefolds. They're huge. Wait, look at the size of them, though. Wait.
Okay, but let's call it what it is. Okay, let's be. I have three theories. Okay, number one. All right.
There's tons of them.
As books become less and less, because that is eminently impractical, right? Especially,
I actually don't like. I was like, this is terrible.
It's completely impractical. But I think it's recognizing a couple of things. One, books are becoming more of a premium product anyways, and so maybe one of the ways that book designers are trying to sort of justify their higher price, book prices, is by making them have all these little gimmicks and fold outs and transparent things to make it seem like it's more of a premium product. Two, they are recognizing that nobody actually uses these books. They mostly just like have them to like ooh and ah over them at their tables, and so they could put in things like a 5 fold out poster, which is actually completely a much of a pain in the ass, because they understand that no one's actually ever going to use that. Hell, it's a Lost Omens book. No one uses that book at the table anyways. It's really just to sit and read.
You have to open the page just to see the other side. I mean, just include these as posters. Like, why put them in the book? Or do you tear them out? Do you carefully cut them on the side?
You are talking to a man who would happily love the return of the box set. Okay,
look at this. Crazy.
It's such an amazing piece of art. But
yeah,
I think that Derik is 100% correct that just in the same way the dice manufacturers have somehow convinced people's brains that it's okay to spend amounts of money that no one would have ever predicted like 30 years ago would ever be spent on dice, and like it's nothing. And so, but book manufacturers have not been able to do that. So I think we'll see more experimentation in this kind of vein, not less. I think that publishers are actually looking. They're looking at each other to see what other people are doing in terms of interesting things with books. And they're trying to find ways, just like you said, Derik, to justify the book as the premium product in the way that somehow Dice did. I didn't think, like, I don't know, man. I'm the Chessex Poundo Dice kind of guy. It's just like, get me a lot of dice at a low price. But a lot of people really love their luxury dice sets. Oh, yeah. And if bookmakers can make people love their luxury books, that's actually a win for authors, for illustrators, for everyone, if they can find a way to do that, I guess.
Yeah. The more unreadable, the more illegible, the better, right? That commands a higher premium price.
Okay, well,
like, look at
like dice, where you can't read what the result is.
Just like watches, right? If you have a watch and it has like 12 numbers on it and very clear delineation, chances are it's cheap. Now, if your watch has weird Egyptian hieroglyphics and they're not in any sort of rational order, chances are that's a very expensive watch.
So, by the way, certain age will get this. Is like you take your book and you turn it sideways, and then you go, check out that dragon.
Now the next time, the next time that a book of erotic fiction gets published and it has those, now we're talking.
Yeah, there we go. The centerfold. The thing is, so the first thing we learn in industrial design or advertising design is legibility and usability. Is that if you create a book that can't be used, then it's an art book, which is fine because that's what the art book is for. So this is supposed to be a book that you can use, right? And now, I literally can't use it because it has the pages covered up with the art. Now I have to. I know,
but it is lost. It's Lost Omens, though. Lost Omens is more of a like.
But this one has a much bigger bestiary of stats than a standard Lost Omens. This is more like Lost Omens Ancestry Guide in the sense that there's every once in a while there's a Lost Omens that has a high percentage of rules compared to usual Lost Omens, and this one is one of them.
Yeah,
and not that it's devoid of the lore. It certainly isn't. But
by the way, it's covering up stats. Like, do that on lore pages. Don't do that on stats pages. I was like, what?
Because you're assuming that someone's going to be sitting there with that book open, and they're not. They're just not.
I guess you're right. But now books aren't books anymore. Now they're just becoming...
I do have to admit that putting it on the lore side so that you can see the really cool art while you're reading the lore makes sense, and that then you wouldn't have to unfold it every time you're using the stats in combat, if you did. But like, as to Derik's point, the fact that it's done like that indicates that it's at least not intended to be easy to use, that particular page that's covered by the
Derik, no, wrong. Actually, it was done because it's done, if you can't see, it's done sequentially, and it's done in the exact same location. So in the press, they have to do it on the certain...
the press has to do it on the right side.
So because sometimes it's on different, sometimes it's on lore, sometimes it's on stats. So they have to do it on certain pages on the signatures, and it's always in the same location for every...
And the stats are often on the right page in general in a two-page spread that contains stats. So correct. I see what's going on
it's there. Just they couldn't choose. You can't always choose when to do it because it has to line up with because they're using...
It is unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking to a psycho who, again, lives in a world of make-believe and fairy tale land. And as Stephen likes to point out, I know nothing. And I always talk about how, like, if I had my druthers, when I made a book, I would lay it out. And he goes, you'd have to lay that book out twice. I go, yeah, of course. He goes, oh my God. I go, because I want to create a book. And one version of the book has all of like the juicy sidebars and lore and all this other stuff. And it's beautifully illustrated and it's in like a wonderful hardbound book.
And one of them is a Word doc with just the stats.
One of them is a very utilitarian. It's spiral bound so that it lays flat. It has, just everything that you need to just run the adventure or run the encounter or whatever it is. None of the like the fluffy lore, none of the auxiliary stuff, secondary, tertiary stuff. And I was like, one's for the table, right? And one's for the gaming table, one's for the coffee table, right? Like that's my thought process.
When you specifically talk about adventures, now for a dragon book like this, there's no way for me. I would only want to have one version that has the lore and the art too. When you specifically talk about adventures, though, I could actually see a outlandish market for a quick guide to the adventure it doesn't even have everything that's in the adventure, but what it does have is very easily defined sections where every page is an entire section of the adventure in very short, with page references to the longer book so that you can get the deeper stats or the character's backstory or whatever, just so that you have the smaller one always open so that you have the whole adventure in mind and you almost never have to flip to get to something that's about the same thing, and then you can use it as a reference to the bigger one. I think that could work.
Now, wait. So also, I don't want to poo-poo this too much because I do applaud them for trying out something pretty cool.
And the book is outstanding.
Oh, yeah, the book is gorgeous. So I was just taken aback. It was one of those, remember the first time you saw XYZ? Well, this is the first time I've ever seen that in a Paizo or D&D. It's sure, I'm not as surprised to see that in Dark Crystal or some smaller indie type press type book. But seeing that in here was shocking just because it was, I just didn't expect it. And seeing it, and I'm like, okay, I get it. And you're 100% right, Derik, is that they're trying to make books a unique selling point. They need to add unique selling points to make it that you want to get this book.
I even think it's a good thing that they're trying to do that because just I've said this on the show many times before, and I halfway got towards it already, even in this episode, but books, for some reason, to people, they're just words, they're just thoughts, and people don't attribute the same value as they do to the cardboard components inside of a board game, even. Or the value of dice or any other thing that feels more tangible. Books feel intangible, even though obviously they're tangible. And so any way that people can come to think of books the same way they would a board game or even dice or miniatures or battlefield terrain, I think is a good thing for books if it succeeds. Obviously, in the experimentation phase, not everything's going to work. The one thing I like about you, Steven, is you're always willing to experiment, even though sometimes it doesn't work and sometimes it does, and pick the best path and chart it forward.
Like having Derik on my show endlessly. It doesn't work, but I keep trying. Oh,
is that just because it's the path of least resistance for you, Steven?
It is. It's so much easier just to have Derik on. I'm just, why I have Derik? Because I'm lazy. Look, I got these in though. The special edition.
That is awesome.
Living Legends covers
with the evil eye.
And then I showed Derik what's inside. You want to see what's inside a cover? Ta-da!
Nothing.
Cardboard. That's all it is. That's all a cover is. Cardboard and paper. That's all covers are. So, but I got these in. Got a lot of gifts today. Look at all this stuff. What else do I got? I got so many books. Man, I need more desks. I need more stuff. I have no idea where we're going.
Maybe get another shelf as it creeps slowly larger and your family continues not to realize that more and more shelves are being added.
True. I have no more shelf space, and I have no more I have no more space for shelves. That's the problem. Anyhow, so the reason we brought up this topic is because, well, we were recently at PAX Unplugged, and me and Professor and Derik were actually talking about this topic quite a bit, about how we were surprised at how many YouTubers, DungeonTubers, have kind of disappeared. And we'll go into the reasons and why. And then Professor was hanging out with us quite a bit, and I was saying how, he's given up on doing crafting videos because that used to be, and he was saying how when he started out, he was doing crafting videos and he would get hundreds of thousands of views. And then I like to take credit for it, is that because of OGL, he started to cover it on the side, and he was getting so many views on his OGL stuff, and he was not getting that many views on his crafting. It was going down. And then he and I were talking a lot, and he was saying, and he keeps saying it on the side, is that he felt bad about putting up, like less crafting videos, but no one was, they just weren't watching. He put in hours, days, weeks, months into those.
I'm going to come in here with a hard take, and I am one of the few people who can give this take, because if you go to Knights of Last Call, and everybody here who knows me at all knows I make a lot of content. Okay.
Yes.
Like a lot, like 10 times as much as any of those other dungeon tubers. Okay. Which means I talk about a lot of shit, and I didn't cover the OGL once. So here is what I think happened. Number one,
we never did it.
Number one, I think that these content creators, they got used to extremely hyperinflated views, driven by the algorithm, the outrage, the clickbait, the hype, and they got
and COVID. Things were already in a bubble from
correct. I know, for example, during COVID, I got really into woodworking, and woodworking videos and channels blew up because you had a lot of people at home sitting there watching YouTube, and they were like, oh, I want to get into woodworking. And I saw channels go from 10K subs to 150K subs in a couple of months. And then lo and behold, now a lot of those channels are basically non-existent or dead. Why? Because people stopped watching because they were all home. When you had COVID plus the OGL back to back, I think people just got super, super hyperinflated, and they had these visions, these illusions of grandeur about how popular and how big their channel was going to be. And they suddenly had people subscribing to them that had never seen them before. But these were people who were never going to watch your video. So yes, your subscriptions jumped up by 80,000 and your views accelerated. But then as soon as all that stuff went away, look, 99% of people do not go and like unsubscribe from channels unless somebody does something to like really piss you off, right? You just scroll past it in your feed. Hell, the algorithm won't even show you your subscription unless you specifically go to your subscriber channels. So most people aren't going to unsubscribe from a channel that they don't even watch anymore. Plus you're just like, maybe they'll show something interesting. So that's number one, was the situation was that. Number two, content creators created and sought out an audience which engages with clickbait. They built up their audience, and they built up their subscribers, and they taught their audience to want to engage with clickbait because that's all they were making. And so, yeah, you basically have, it's like giving your kid a bunch of, I don't know, sugary pop cereal and then wondering why they don't want to eat their vegetables. Well, because you spoiled them and you got them addicted to this garbage. And so instead of caring about like the intricacies of, let's say, crafting a wonderful campaign or making a cool little model for a diorama for your big set piece encounter, people are just like, where's the drama? Where's the clickbait? Where's the tea? And they kind of did it to themselves. And then when they didn't want it, when they got sick of it, when they got, when the drama stopped flowing, they were suddenly like making their videos, and then they were all like, my videos don't do good anymore. The YouTube algorithm hates me. Oh, the people suck. I'm leaving YouTube forever. And it's like, well, yeah, because you did it to yourself. You were never supposed to be that popular. You got lucky / exploited a dramatic situation. And yeah, that's that. Now, they're trying to get paid. I respect it. At that time, I wasn't a full-time content creator. I still worked my 9 to 5. My YouTube was just a thing I did on the side. So I get it. They got the hustle. They got the flow. They got to do what gets the clicks and the views. But at the same time, they purposely engaged with that audience. And now they're upset that audience doesn't care about, actually how to be a good GM.
So Derik, I feel that I can respond to this as the, one of the people with Linda behind Arcane Mark in a way that's harder for Steven to justifiably respond, since obviously this channel also is engaging in some of those similar vibes, right? I feel that there is another undercurrent to what you were saying that is at play here, where the algorithm is going after them, but only because of some of the other things you said, which is gaining those new subscribers who don't like the crafting or whatever the other content is. As the algorithm has now, and the way the site works doesn't even let you see, your things you've subscribed to directly anymore. It's like kind of just what's shown to you. And it's hard to even get to your subscriptions. You have to very specifically do so. It'll show to a few of your subscribers that it kind of picks. And if they don't want to watch it, it goes down and it gets real throttled. And so actively, by having those extra subscribers who subscribed for, say, the clickbait, with the new way the algorithm works, you're screwed if you put out something else, because you'd actually want to not have them, and it would be shown to more people if you didn't. But I also want to go back to what Steven said before about I don't want to pick on Professor at all. I think that his channel is awesome. Professor, yeah. And I think there are other people who are seeing the same problem who didn't even do clickbait videos. By the way, so I think that there is a real thing.
Of course, yeah. The interest of the game.
But I want to look at the numbers that Steven quoted about how Professor claimed he was getting hundreds of thousands on his crafting videos before. Then he did the clickbait ones, and now nobody watches them. I'm going back 5 years to way before the OGL. I'm seeing how to craft a double dungeon door, 11K views. Fast and easy pillars for ultimate dungeon terrain, 9.1K views. All right. Then there are occasionally some that have slightly clickbaitier names. Obviously, they're not about OGL, but they're about like the worst player habits in D&D, 50,000 views. Right. So his crafting videos already, sometimes they were higher, to be fair. I found some other ones that were 50,000. I can't even tell why some of them are 10,000 and why some of them are 50. But if we go to his most recent crafting videos that he has in there, they're not like worse than 10K views.
But he
don't buy a DM screen. Use this instead. 35,000 views. That's more akin to one of his better earlier crafting videos.
But the point is, and he goes through this. You can watch his videos. He explains this in extensive detail, quite a bit. And that's why the whole joke was why the title was supposed to be, he changed it. The title was going to be You Killed Dungeon Craft was the original title, because people say they want to see crafting videos and
no, they don't.
Takes, but that's the point. Yes, they don't, because they say they do, but that's not what they're watching.
Well,
and
no. I think that well, number one,
that's why I called it You, because
let me
are watching.
His last two crafting videos got 31K and 35K views. His Hasbro comeback got 27K views, or Mercer Quits got 27K views.
No, wait,
he did have some in that same time period that got way more.
Mark, you're picking out the bad ones. What about the big ones? He also look at all of his biggest ones.
He had some that were bigger, especially when he had the interview with Matt and Travis on the show.
And that was very recent. And how much did he get?
But that I don't think that is indicative of the wider trend. That was a very special video.
Wait. How many views does the video that he just posted on Monday about this very topic?
That view is gonna, that one is going to have a lot.
You're dodging the question. How many views does it have?
There's 91K. Obviously, that one will have more. Quitting and it's over videos always have more for everyone.
But the point is, they're
I'm just saying that his more controversial videos did not always beat the crafting videos. The crafting videos are like 31K views, 35K views are. What's wrong with that? I guess I'm going to agree with Derik on that point. What's wrong with that many views?
This is what Professor says. Watch his videos.
Let me for starters by say that I love Professor DM, because see, some people will make these comments and not really call people out on them. He does. He basically says, like, somebody had a comment like, why do you make clickbait videos? And he goes, the reason you saw my video is because that's the kind of video you click on. Like, he definitely calls people out. Here's the reason why I said You Killed DungeonTubers doesn't work, because the 8,000 people that were watching crafting videos, they still want to watch crafting videos.
Yeah.
The extra 150,000 people who clicked on Matt Mercer kills Watsy were never going to click on a crafting video ever. So my estimation is actually that if he does a crafting video, he probably, because of just organic growth, would probably get more views than he used to way back in the day.
Right.
Now,
Well,
he would get a lot less views than I sit down with Matt Mercer and Travis Willingham to discuss the recent drama around Critical Role's decision to go with Dungeons and Dragons 2024. Were they paid off? What are their extensive bribes? What kind of black market shenanigans was going on in the background today on Dungeon Craft? Right? Like that is of course going to get a lot of views, but none of those people were ever going to watch how to, get a really good dry brush on your stone texture. They were just never going to do that.
I agree, but he also does explain that overall crafting because of was it the printing, the
3D printing.
3D
Yeah,
printing.
I agree. Yeah,
3D
I agree.
printing, it's just it's just less, it's just there's just a lot less people.
I used to be
this.
really back in the day. I don't really play much more games anymore, but I used to be really into, how to craft terrain and all this other stuff. And now I have a 3D printer, so no, I don't care anymore.
Right, exactly. Right. And I mean, there was more to us because we're actually we're talking about this a lot over the weekend. And he and I were talking about this, about how just the industry has changed and that. But then, and I'll talk about the second one, someone pointed this out, is that, and this was fascinating, is that, okay, when I started my podcast channel, when I started Roll for Combat, there was exactly one Pathfinder podcast, and that was it. It was no direction. And there weren't even any D&D podcasts. The few that were out were pretty bad. There was just nothing. There was nothing. I'd be sitting there going, why is there no podcast on D&D? There's only one on Pathfinder. And then I heard, I wanted to do one for years. Glass Cannon came out. And then I yelled at all my friends. I said, okay, we're doing a podcast from now on because I can't take it anymore. I need to do a podcast, and you're in or you're out. And they all ended up being in. And then all of a sudden it exploded. It exploded everywhere. There was so many YouTubers. There was so many podcasts. There's just endless because D&D was blowing up, Stranger Things, all that. Well, everyone knows that. But the problem is that you went from nothing to everything. And then so videos on how to do a ranger build, how to do a fighter build, how to do a wizard build, there wasn't any. And then there were too many. And you only need to watch those once or twice. How many times do you actually need to see those videos? They become evergreen very quickly. And then I remember we talked about this on the show in private, that I was very curious to see what would happen when 2024 came out. Because stop calling me. So when 2024 came out, would this bring back all these new how to build your character for 2024 or not? And the answer was no. It did not work because the rules were way too similar. So no one really watched those videos. The views started off very high and then tanked very quickly.
Yeah, there were some early ones I saw that were high because no one was doing it. Right. And so just like with any topic, the first people who get in there and sort of stake a claim when nobody is doing it are always going to do pretty well for it, even if it's not one that's sustainable or that's long lasting. And just like you said, Stephen, after that point, even those people found that it went down, and other people had trouble breaking in because people would be just, oh yeah, I can just use these ones that are out there. And then when they that was mostly because of the game being released in such weird stages that some people had the books before other people. That part of what made those videos actually even go for as long as they did. And once everyone had the books and we're like, oh, this is pretty similar. I think I get it from what's there before. Those videos seem to go, as far as I could see, seem to go down. Now, there may be a corner of YouTube that I'm not looking at where those are still doing great. And people can feel free to tell me.
There's a corner, and let's see if anyone in the chat can figure this out. But there is, and I'll get to that. But that's the point. It's so after you go through and you talk about all the different spells and classes and feats, what do you got left? And that's the problem, is that a lot of these YouTubers just ran out of things to say.
So let me add a couple of nuggets here. One is, I actually talked about this the other day because I was inadvertently talking about this because I had watched Professor's video and I started talking about it on my stream last night. And I said, I've been doing this for 5 years. Now, again, given the way that I do multiple streams per week, my streams are anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6 to 8 hours. So I produce in a month, in terms of hours of content, what most content creators produce in, let's say, a year. So my 5 years on the
Or
platform,
a lifetime for some.
yeah, for some people it's a lifetime. So, you know, in terms of DungeonTuber equivalents, I've been doing this for 60 years. And what I said was, I did, you know, 2 years ago, I did a bunch of series, probably 20 plus hours about like PBTA and Powered by the Apocalypse, for people who don't know what that is. Game master moves, hard moves, soft moves. I talked about that. Now, I haven't fundamentally changed my views on that. And so I don't really feel a need to go back and talk about that. So that's one thing that's been checked off. And as time has gone forward, I said two things are true. One, when D&D started to blow up, YouTube was still fairly niche. And there certainly wasn't the kind of D&D structure that we have now. And there was just none of this content on the internet. Now, all this content is on the internet. So if you're a brand new DM and you're coming to YouTube, you have years and years and years worth of content to go and look up. So the need for somebody to create a how-to GM is not as neat, not as great, because there's just a huge, tremendous backlog. And yes, new books come out, but a lot of the fundamentals will never change, and they've never change. Two, I think a lot of the people who came into the hobby, there's no doubt that in 2018, 2019, 2020, there was a massive influx of people into the hobby. And I talk a lot of times about the oral tradition of Dungeons and Dragons, where, you know, I learned from my cousin, who learned from, you know, some old war gamer, who learned from Eddie Munson at his high school, who learned from some old war gamer who played with a guy who knew Dave Arneson back up in Chicago, who learned from Gary Gygax, right? There was this tradition that like stretched back, to the progenitors. But in the late 2020s or late 2000 teens, you had all these people entering the game, and they knew nothing. They didn't even know anybody who played a role-playing game. They weren't learning at the skirts of another dungeon master. They were learning from nothing. They had watched Critical Role. You know, that was their only experience, and they needed this information. Well, guess what? Those people, by and large, have learned how to GM, and they don't need those. They don't need those kind of advice and techniques anymore. Yeah, it might have been a hard, tough row to hoe, but it's been 5-6 years, and by their own process of playing the game, they have developed their own, a school of hard knocks, and maybe they've learned from other dungeon tubers, and they don't need that information anymore. And I don't think the influx of brand new GMs is as great as it used to be. In fact, I would argue that there's so many people now who play the game that if you are interested in getting involved in D&D, whereas 5 or 6 years ago, you were sort of forced to pick yourselves up by your bootstraps and go ahead and learn how to play the game by yourself. Now there's games everywhere, online, at your local game store. A bookstore opened up down the street from me that is basically a fantasy bookstore / D&D hub. And so I don't think the need to learn at the apron in strings of these established dungeon tubers is as great as it used to be. And even if it was, they already made all those videos. It's not like 2024 fundamentally changed the nature of DMing. So no, go back and watch all their videos from 2014 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
so
basically,
I think the need isn't as great.
We need people who have something new to say, and
yeah.
Unless you've been doing this for as long as we have, not that we're the best, but we can talk about this forever because we have.
And even if you have
50
been
years
doing
of
it for this long,
experience.
you need something new.
Yeah.
And because of that, that's one of the things. Other than like, is the image
I could keep
clickbait?
going.
Well, no, but right,
know.
like other than is the image clickbaity, which to be fair, like some of Professor's earlier videos before the OGL that were more successful had a slightly clickbaitier image, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things about these topics that are sometimes being called clickbait topics is because, Stephen can put clickbait for any topic if he wants, right? But the ones that are the classic clickbait topics are like the news topics.
Yeah.
And they are both done in a clickbaity way, sometimes for the image, and they are news. And the thing about news is that it's new. So it's something that just happened. Nobody's made videos about it yet, except for whoever's responded to it already. People maybe wanting to find out about it if they vaguely heard about it, but they don't know for sure. And they might be looking to someone that they trust from previous videos. It has been looking into things, has connections, understands some of the context, who is going to talk about it in an interesting way. Now, for me, I'm usually looking for someone who won't sensationalize it too much, which unfortunately the clickbait thumbnails does not draw me towards it as well. Even if it winds up being a video like some of the ones on this channel where like it has a super clickbaity image, and then when you get in there, we're all being like, the sky's not falling, this is not as bad as you think, and here's why. I'm the one weirdo who wouldn't be attracted to it, but I know most people are like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, I better click on this video, and then it can be calmed down by the video or whatever. The point is, there's a reason other than clickbait that fits with what Stephen was saying, that these topics are popular and that they are worth pursuing for some people because they aren't repetitive.
So let me, to quote Derik from Veritasium, there is two different types of clickbait. Okay, there's type 1 clickbait and there's type 2 clickbait, right?
By the
type
way,
2
Veritasium goes through like 50 video covers.
Oh,
like
he changes them.
minutes.
He changes them every 5 minutes.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Derik,
yeah,
are
yeah.
either of your two types of clickbaits actually traditional clickbait before the
Yes.
term got degraded to the point, the one
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
even
no,
one?
Veritasium.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I've seen this.
So
Yeah.
type 1 clickbait is like where you're like, you won't believe who's leaving the show, and then you click on it and like no one's leaving the show, or like it's like a guest star who's only on one episode. It's deliberately misleading. On the other hand, type 2 clickbait is sensationalized, but it is fundamentally talking, about what you're talking about. You're just making it look exciting. Yes. So Davin, exactly. A book cover with great art and a catchy title is clickbait. It's asking you to engage. You don't know anything about what's behind the book cover. So the only thing you have to go on is, don't judge a book by its cover. Well, yeah, you have to. You're not going to pick every book off the shelf and read them. You have to you have to base off of something.
Mhm.
So, when somebody makes a video and it says, Watty crashing to the ground, maybe that's sensationalized, but if what they talk about fundamentally are the flawed financials and the problem of Wizards of the Coast growth expectations and the turnover within their corporate ranks, you can't fault them and say, oh, that was clickbait. No,
I mean, people can, because the term has lost all meaning.
Yeah, the term has. Yeah, they literally threw me under a bus. It's like, wait.
You know what? But like, I'm just going to throw this back. So back in the 80s, for whatever reason, I used to watch the news a lot. And I mean the local news. And it always drove me crazy. And I don't know if they still do this because I don't really watch the news, but on TV, they'd always be like, after the break, find out what secret will make your dog go crazy, and it would be like nothing. They would, that is clickbait. Like they would make sure, they would always give you a reason to stick around after the commercials, and they would always have a sensational news. The Simpsons made fun of this. Like, this was a known thing. This was something they used to make fun of all the time. And no one called it clickbait. We didn't even have a word for it. We didn't know what to call it. It was what it was. It was just, stick around for this unbelievable thing, which always ended up being not that big a deal. But it worked. And it worked really, really well. So, and as everyone's saying in here, like, people do judge books by their cover. Back in the 80s and the 90s, I don't know if you remember this, but like when Nirvana had the naked baby swimming on the cover, that was like big news. Like, oh, how dare they have this naked baby and you can see his penis, and is this is this art? Is this not? Is this bad? Is not? You know how much press they got from that? They got billions of dollars worth of free press. It was clickbait, man. It's all clickbait. And if you have a bad cover, people are not going to buy your book. It's simple as that. If you have a bad image for your YouTube, people are not going to click through. There's thousands of examples and documentaries and people going into deep detail on this.
No,
And-
you're right. I have absolutely do not disagree that. And when you say bad, by the way, to be clear, it's you're meaning like less clickable.
Yeah, less
Yes.
engaging.
Yes, less clickable, less engaging
Right.
of a thumb. No, absolutely, that's true. I guess what I'm saying is that for the news topics, there's something to them aside from just whether you have the engaging or clickable thumb, in that they are novel. Even if it's something similar to what happened before, like the latest Hasbro sales report will be a similar topic to the sales report from the last quarter before that, but it will be different because the numbers will be different and something else might have been revealed. Like the really weird thing we found in the most recent sales report where it seemed like Magic was so outstanding that they revealed Magic and then everything including Magic. And they're like, see, they both went up. But when you subtracted out Magic from everything, including Magic in one section, it was nothing had gone up.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I was going to say, and again, this is a lot of the people here also watch Knights of the Last Call, but we have some people I'm sure who don't watch me. But I was talking about this the other day as well, which is as I've grown into this role,
you can't assume everyone has been watching all 500 hours.
Correct. No, correct. In fact, it's just we had some people who watched a disturbing amount of my videos from their YouTube recap. It was it's very, very humbling to see how many hours.
Did you see my recap? Who was my most watched?
Me.
Knights of Last Call.
The Knights of Last Call. But yeah, see, Smendon's like I've come close. But what I was going to say is I have met through just being part of this community, but also like through Roll for Combat, through Steven, who knows everybody. And I've had the opportunity to rub shoulders to get to meet some of my contemporaries, other content creators. And the one thing that I have discovered is I am a lot less stressed out than almost any other content creator. And the reason is because I don't care how many views I get. My model is completely different. And this is advice this would be my advice for any of you, which is I think trying to make money off of views in the YouTube algorithm in this environment, in this category, which is role-playing games, is a horrible approach. Trying to make money off of this is incredibly difficult. For those of you who don't know, a YouTuber, a DungeonTuber is going to make somewhere between $3 to $4 per 1,000 views, roughly. That's what you get from the AdSense revenue.
By the way, I checked that out later, Derik, because I was talking with Derik and Steven and Professor about this at the con too. Mine is slightly under 3.
Yes. Okay.
But it isn't so drastically under 3 that I would say that you were wrong, but it is. I knew that I was like 3 to 4 sounds too high for.
So if you're Mark, you get even less, but like
even less and have fewer views.
Right.
It's a great combination.
So
but I do have it on low, like conservative ads because I don't want to spam as many ads as possible for my people.
But so let's just be very generous and say you're a DungeonTuber, and let's say that every time you produce a video, you get 100,000 views. That's a lot. Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot.
As we've seen in this very topic, Professor DM can't consistently get that. That's a good run for him.
And he's definitely, in the top echelons of DungeonTubers, right? So if you get 100,000 views, and let's say you do one video a week, okay, and you get 100,000 views every time you make that video, you're going to make $500 a video. That means you're making $2,000 a month. That means you're making $24K a year. Now, in this day and age, that is nothing close to what we could call a career or a full-time. That's not even close to the amount of effort and time it is. So chasing after views in our niche, I think is just a completely flawed approach. In every possible way. I just don't think that the market is there. There's a handful of people like XP to level 3, right? Who, can literally get 1 million views on his videos. Now you're talking about getting $5,000 or more per video. But outside of that, it's just not a sustainable approach. Now, secondary to that, we talked about DungeonTubers running out of things to talk about. And I understand that. Again, I as I said, in DungeonTuber equivalent, I've made 60 years worth of content because of how long I talk. Well, Derik, how did you possibly do that? Because I don't just talk about D&D. Because I talk about weird, small, esoteric indie games and whatever else came out and strange things. And yeah, they don't get any views. They do not get views. It is true. They do not. But somebody watches them. Right. And that's the difference. That's the key, is that I've decided to engage with that niche audience rather than try to, curry the favor of a vast majority of audience members who would never even give me a nickel to support me and my content. So that's where my model is different than other people. And the net of it is, I don't care about the algorithm. In fact, I don't even really care how many views my videos get. I don't. And as a result of that, my attitude and my stress level towards this hobby / job / whatever content creation is very different than a lot of other groups, which is why you've
seen a lot of fellow YouTubers in spaces I share with them get very stressed if they get a 10 out of 10 video. That is their lowest 10 out of 10, meaning for people who are not YouTubers,
the rankers.
That when YouTube will rank your video and tell you, hey, this one was 8th out of your last 10. This one was 1 out of the last 10. Here's balloons.
Right.
There are literally balloons, by the way.
It will literally be balloons.
And I've seen people say, yes, those balloons, they like make me feel so good. Dopamine rush every time I get them. And when I see a 10, it ruins my day. And that is not true for me, but only in the sense that like nothing I do, even if it's a 1 out of 10, it probably didn't get very many views. So I'm in a similar boat, but for a different reason than you, Derik.
Correct. And so it again, I don't care about the algorithm. I don't care what my my thumbnail looks like. I don't care about engagement. I don't care about how many new people are entering my funnel. I just it's just not what I do. Now see, Wallona's Cave, it says it's called YouTube, not ThemTube. Fun is the goal. Well, like most things, that may have been true once, but it became monetized to hell. And there are people who legitimately quit their job to make full-time content. And for them, it is not the goal. It is, it is them trying to make it into a career.
Right. And to them, a lot of them, when I hear from it, they are happy. They don't like having to deal with the algorithm, but they're happy in the sense that they didn't like whatever their other job that they quit was.
Correct.
Like at all.
Right.
And so they know that there's risks. They know that there's algorithmic weird things going on, and it's going to be stressful because every time they see a 10 out of 10, that's their bottom line. But they also just are in a sense happy that they've been able to lift themselves away from whatever their soul crushing previous career was.
I mean, yeah. So I just wonder if it's it's just a difficult prospect. 303 Cisco. I have about 15,000 subs. A little over.
I definitely, by the way, everyone is saying Derik is on fire. You're saying you rolled natural 20. I've been popping them up while you're talking. Everyone's like,
well, I mean, I have a lot of experience in this, and my philosophy is very different from a lot of other tubers. And I mean, I don't want to stroke my ego, but one of the common experiences that I have had is I'll meet somebody. This is like when they don't know me, and basically there's kind of like a penis measuring contest, right? Where a content creator will basically say, well, how many subs do you have? And I'll tell them, I have 10,000 subs, or now I have 15,000 subs. And they will basically brush me off. And then they hear how many paying patrons I have. And then they suddenly go, tell me, what did you do? How did you do it? What are you doing? How did you do that? And now suddenly they're very interested because they do the quick math in their head. And they go, if I had the same percentage of patrons to subscribers as he did, I would be making $1 million a year. And suddenly they're very interested. And now they want to know what's the secret? What's going on? What's the deal? And I tell them, and then they go, oh, I don't want to do that. But, how do I do that? Well, I communicate with my subscribers. I'm very active on my Patreon. For those of you who don't know, I have a private Patreon that is cost money, and it leads to a private Discord. And, when you chat in my Discord, you randomly get experience points and you level up. And it's old school, right? Where it's like the amount of XP you need doubles, with each level. And I am number one. I am the highest ranked member of my Discord. Like, I talk the most, more than anybody. Anyone who is a paying patron of mine can DM me. My DMs are open. I get
the funny thing is
I get dozens and dozens of messages a day from my patrons.
I am a paying member. I never use that Patreon. I never use the channel because I have a lifeblood to Derik himself.
Yeah,
He
you
and
can
I
go.
we're connected at the.
Yeah. So, and obviously, one of the reasons I do live streams is because I want to have a conversation with my followers. In fact, there have been a small handful of times where I have actually done fairly popular topics on accident. And, we get hundreds of people in my live chat, and it's kind of annoying because I can't. No, because I can't.
I have too many people.
I'm serious.
Unsubscribe and leave.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of serious because I'm like, I can't follow the chat. And I normally,
this is your secret to success. You're like, no, please, no more success, please. And everyone's like, who's this guy who doesn't want success? We must follow him.
Well, I always make sure that I follow up. The moment I do that, I go, hey, look at this small game I found on itch.io. We're going to cover that game. Make sure that
I know
people who got really excited about my channel promptly
was
leave.
Funny when you started off your channel doing what's the food one, which by the way, Wilderfeast, which I was very interested in. And then you're like, well, we have 20 people watching. Yeah, I guess you can see how popular this subject is.
But I'm fine with that, right?
I know you are, but you don't like it. But I also know that you don't want all your
Well, okay,
you don't mind it once in a while, but you still want people to be engaged.
Of course, yeah. But here's what I'm saying: I will take 100 engaged viewers,
correct?
Okay, who make it a point to make the success of my channel a priority, a financial priority of theirs. Okay, over 10,000 people who could give a shit if I live or die. Right. So I'll take 100 dedicated and devoted people over 10,000 people who could give a shit about me. Right. And that's the difference between me and them. So, and, again, I think that's a measure of success. And now, again, so there's different ways that I think that YouTubers can do it. But like, ultimately, I think that the model of trying to just, attract the lowest common denominator and hope that you're going to somehow make a living through views, that's flawed. I think the four ways that a dungeon tuber can make money are as follows. 1, Patreon. 2, paid sponsorships. 3, tipping. 4, cultivating an audience that trusts and believes in your vision and using that audience to springboard a Kickstarter or a backer kit or whatever project. Those are the 4 ways.
There actually is an area where D&D is growing quite well, and it's actually doing very well. And we didn't talk about this because we don't really cover this that much or even know about it, but I've been dabbling in it quite a bit recently. And that's TikTok, baby. Because TikTok...
I also don't do TikTok, shocking.
Right, but TikTok's fascinating because those videos, because I was like, how much information can you really get on a 30-second TikTok video? It's like, really? Like we're doing 2-3 hour videos and they're doing 2-3 second video, but I mean, how can you go into detail? And that's the thing, you can't.
But also you can't do an 80s movie digression. You can't have a super chat from C. Calderiac that says, just make a video on free market to shed viewers or other side things like that. You only can do the 30 seconds of the topic. That being said, it's too short for me. It's too long-winded.
Oh yeah, it's way too short.
Well, no, you can't say anything of value. I mean, right. I'm not trying to besmirch anybody who does shorts or does TikToks, but it is garbage content. It's garbage content. It's
doing very well. There's a lot of new
garbage
people
content
coming in
because people are garbage.
Well, Derik, that is a very cynical take.
People.
That is a very cynical take.
Garbage.
I'm sorry. I mean, listen. I'm sorry, but if you're, that's just the way it is. It is a completely flop form of content. It is. Yeah, gridlock. Yes, it is the equivalent of gas station hot dogs. It is.
Gas station hot dogs. Yum, yum, yum in my tum.
And so it's just horrible. And here's the thing. Yeah, it's internet fast food. It's sugar. It's some cheap little piece of candy or whatever. It's not nutritious. It's not filling. It doesn't cause you to, everything about it is horrible. But it's just part of this.
Airport sushi all the time.
It's part of this broader, culture.
Would you consider it to be brain rot, Derik?
Yeah, of course, brain rot.
I think Derik doesn't like it. I can't quite tell.
A lot of unfinished projects as TikTok is more about starting smaller conversations, like a water cooler conversation.
Mm-hmm. Then we got another one.
I mean, maybe, but what conversation can you have? It's a 15-second. By definition, like it is designed to spike and promote the most absolute like dopamine type response that it can possibly do. It is just, it is designed. I can't even begin to describe how much I absolutely hate short form content.
The man who does 6-hour YouTube videos nightly. I hate short-term content.
Look, hey, wait. Let me be very clear about something. My form of content is not ideal either because it's live, it's unedited, there's tangents. It can be frustrating. And I'm obviously not working off of a script. So sometimes there might be, me trying to think of something, or there's a lot of, ums and uhs because we're having a normal conversation.
By the way, they say they love the stream bot chat is covering Derik's face.
Good. Yes.
That's Derik's fault because Derek set this up for me.
I did put that there. Yeah, I put that there on surface.
He knew he would be able to cover his face and he wanted to do that. Derek, if you know anything about Derik, he would do that on purpose.
Correct.
Yeah, he did that.
And so I already dislike how limited the video format is in order to have real conversations. I'm talking about like a 10-minute video or a 12-minute video, but doing it in 30 seconds or 15 seconds is even crazier. So again, what I'm saying is my format isn't ideal either because
and Jess in chat agrees with you that it's not ideal because she wants to give your insights for Powered by the Apocalypse to friends, but cannot do so due to your format.
Right. With a willing heart to say, hey, go watch this because it can be confusing and it can be disorienting and all this other stuff. And so I agree, but I also don't think the solution is to go 30 seconds. Right now,
there must be some compromise between 6 hours and 30 seconds.
There is. It's called Quinn's Quest. But in order to do Quinn's Quest, you have to have 2,500 or 3,500 paying patrons, okay, who are paying you something like $35,000 to $50,000 a month. Okay, who are supporting your vision of a content where you say, I want you to go and I want you to legitimately play and engage with an RPG. And I want you to take a group and I want you to play it, not just for a one shot, not just for a virtual shot, not just for a white room. I ran a combat in a white room solo. No, actually sit down and play an 8, 10, 12 shot game with your group. Sit down very thoughtfully and review the game and create a 45 to 60 minute, well edited, well intentioned, well comprehensive video and release maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6 of those a year. But the only way you could do that is by having that kind of support from an audience. But guess what? 99.99999% of people do not have that kind of support from an audience. So they can't make that kind of content. It's just not in the cards. So you're left with what you get.
So what about how much of it is the Riz? And if you don't have the Riz, you can't.
Yeah, I mean,
be a YouTuber.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to have a certain amount of, you're making a lot of diplomacy checks. I think. I personally don't think. I think I'm kind of annoying, but in my own safe, and I think most of my viewers would agree.
Yeah, but you're the Howard Stern effect. Everyone loves to hate you.
But I like to think that the quality, or even if you disagree with me, I think the structured format of which I present my information is valuable. So I think that more than it's like if you go to when you're in college, you might have a professor who's exceptionally, maybe he's dull or he's whatever, but if he's if he's brilliant and really knows his stuff, you're like, and you actually care about getting good at that topic, you can, sit through his lectures because the value of what he's saying is so highly valued to you.
Or if you have a professor who's maybe ornery or sarcastic, but that has valuable content in there. And importantly, for some professors, especially, at MIT or another institute of higher learning, might not be willing to admit when they're wrong.
Correct.
But one thing that I like about you, Derik, is you like to debate. You have strong opinions. Sometimes your hot takes are like really off. But when someone calls you when someone calls you out on it and gives enough examples and you look into it, you'll be the first to admit, yeah, I was totally wrong about that.
Yeah. No, that is very true.
Some people won't back down because that's part of their riz is that they have to always be right and like the alpha dog of everything.
I think this is actually turning into the We Love Derik show. Everyone in chat is saying how great you are, how on topic you are, how much they love your opinions. Look at this.
But
loves Derik.
There are also people who vehemently disagree with me, but I think that's the key, right? And like Richard says, Derik's opinion isn't always right. True. But his knowledge is valuable.
Is always right.
You know, and I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, even if you disagree.
Oh, I like this one. Derik is okay.
Yes. Well,
Jess.
Yeah. I agree with that. And also too, like I've learned the hard way that basically, because again, I get people who disagree with me, but they'll say things like, because a lot of people are like, it's not even that they're parasocial. They have a very unhealthy relationship with the things that they like. And RPGers are very guilty of this. And one of the things that they'll do is they'll say, basically, they make this leap of logic. Derik had critiques for a game and ultimately decided that he thought some of the ideas in it were flawed. It's an opinion that he has. But Derik is saying he hates the game. But I like the game. So Derik must hate me, or Derik must think I'm stupid, or Derik must think I'm a terrible person. Or
Derik is disapproving of me and my choices and my intelligence, or whatever.
Right? Because only
people internalize.
Yeah, people do. They take ownership of these games that they play in a very real way. And I still say what I'm going to say.
Some people are going to critique everything.
Yeah, of course.
Look, I can critique Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I'm one of the 4 people who created the game, but I can critique it. It has flaws. Some of those flaws are, my fault. Some of those flaws are not, or may not be any of the game designer's fault, but it comes to the playtest and what playtesters wanted. And you could say that's also our fault for being willing to cave, but maybe they're actually the fault of the market, because if we hadn't followed the playtest, maybe the game would have failed. There's all sorts of ways. Anything you love, you should be able to critique, but many people can't.
Correct.
And that is an unhealthy thing for the, I think for the space as a whole.
Yeah. And I mean, back in the day, we were much more focused on Pathfinder 2nd Edition, and people would come out and say, on Reddit and whatever, Derik hates Pathfinder. He said, and I'm like, yeah, that's why I do 350 hours of content on Pathfinder 2nd Edition, right? Because I hate the game, because I think it has no value. That's why I spend so much time talking about a game. No, if I don't really engage, or, if I don't really fuck with a game, I just don't talk about it. That's why you don't see me talk about 5th edition D&D. I have nothing really to say, good or bad. So I always thought that was really funny, because it was like,
I changed the location so it's not over your face.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Look at that. I threw you off. He's like, what?
There's some interesting things in chat. Thirsty asks, are we critiquing Pathfinder?
Oh, I saw that.
And then Jess said to you, Derik, I think you've gotten better about this particular thing since your channel began, Derik. Sometimes you come across more hostile than you intend because you trend towards exaggerating in your speech.
That's why Derik and I get along so well. Because I never exaggerate.
Well, Jess, but your second part there, I tend to speak naturally the way I might with my friends versus the way you need to self-moderate some exaggerations when you're speaking in public. But I think what I'll call unfiltered view is part of what endears me to people, because a lot of other content creators have to sort of play the game, and I typically don't. As very famously, when I first started coming on this channel and Steven was trying to give me a platform to hype my channel, I would tell people, don't come to my channel. You won't like the content there, and you'll probably disagree with me.
Says Derik hates the Wizard of Oz. That is not true at all.
Well, actually, no.
Well, the Wizard of Oz itself, but we're talking about
I love Wicked, but Wizard of Oz is okay. I mean, there's some bangers in there. It's okay.
It's got the second act is kind of a little kind of a little lame, but
Yeah.
good.
You know, but there's some bangers in there.
act.
But I mean, I'll watch Wicked 35 times before I'll watch.
No,
Wizard
Wicked.
Files.
Derek, I would say that you intentionally telling people not to join who you think won't like your content is actually, with the way the algorithm shifted, it has been helping you, because having a smaller number of subscribers who are definitely going to click on it will actually get your thing shown to more people.
Yeah. Jess, you are absolutely correct about that, because the times I get in the biggest trouble is when I'll make a video accidentally and it'll be popular and I'll get like more people in, you know, my views or more people in my chat than I normally get. And suddenly you get a lot of people who are very offended because I've gone outside of my, you know, my bubble of people. Because again, comparing numbers with different content creators, the percentage of people who watch my videos who are subscribers is absurdly high, like incredibly high. Whereas for a lot of other content creators, both in DungeonTuber space and outside of DungeonTuber space, it is actually very, very low. A lot of the people who watch your video are either not subscribed or they're first-time viewers. The number of first-time viewers and not subscribed people who watch my content is exceedingly low comparatively to other DungeonTubers. So a lot of the people who watch my videos and engage with my content have been doing so for months or years.
I think Jess is on fire. She is like wearing out her keyboard chatting with you today. Look at this.
She's a verbose lady.
There you go. But
a verbose lady. Ooh,
yeah, I think that's probably true. We had another super chat. Let me go grab it real quick.
Anonymous.
Yes, David Perry said Hyperbole Anonymous for Derek. Derek needs to join Hyperbole.
Oh, Hyperbole Anonymous. Well, but yeah, I don't try.
What percentage of your viewers, by the way, are like subscribers versus
like
non-subscribers?
70% plus.
That is pretty. That is pretty good.
It should be.
Or I mean, maybe not good or bad, but it's pretty high.
It's very high. Yeah.
Same way I should be hyping people to like. No one's liking. Everyone hates us.
We do have 7 likes, but but I mean, I hear there are certain stupid things.
239 viewers.
There are certain stupid things that are true, which is people don't click the like button unless you like remind them to. It's true. It actually is true.
I click the like on every video I watch.
Oh wow,
really?
Good for you.
Yeah,
That's for you.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Good work, Steven. You're like the one guy.
You're like the one guy.
Well, because also I want those videos to show up in my feed, so I like them. And then after I do it, my rule is if I watch something sort of like 5, 6, 7 times, I'm like, and then I subscribe.
See, my rule is I subscribe to your channel, and then I never look at my feed, and I only look at my subscription.
I look at both. I look at
now. Unfortunately,
you're wondering. That's how I find things when you keep writing me.
Well, no, yeah, because
where do you find all this crap?
This is actually that's a valid point. Steven will send me a video, and he'll be like, "Oh, look at this," and somebody with 40 subscribers and a couple hundred views, and I go, "Where did you find this shit?" And he goes, "I see everything, man." He's like, "I'm always cultivating everything."
He even sees it all.
He has his Palantir. Do you think the eyes of the White Tower are blind?
It's true.
Yeah,
I get you very good links, and the funny one is there was that one link where they were going on and on about how much they love Knights of Last Call, and you were like, "Where'd you find this?"
Yeah, I don't even remember what that video was, but
I was talking about DungeonTubers. And how they disappeared. That was before. That was a couple of weeks ago. That was before we were even.
But Baron is back, baby.
Baron is back, and I wrote Baron. I said, "Are you back because I wouldn't stop bugging you?" And then he's like, "Kinda."
It reminds me of the start of Start of season 3 of Parks and Recreation. Are we back? Oh, we're back, baby.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, he said something funny because he had a Tarrasque on his back of a shelf and it broke. And I said, "Oh, I'll send you a dice mimic. You can put it back there." And he goes, "Oh, if you send it to me, I'll put it back there." I said, "Good, I'll send it to you. I look forward to seeing it in 3 years when you do your next video."
Damn. Savage.
So, Derek, is it 75% of views are from
yes, not
subscribers,
75%.
or is it view time? Because YouTube makes view time easier to see of subscribed versus not subscribed.
Oh, let me look.
Where did Baron go? He is very busy, and he had an earthquake in his house, believe it or not. which was
Oh,
kind of
wow.
crazy. Yeah,
That is not good.
Well, he
I
runs
hope he's doing all right.
he runs Green. He's fine. He runs Green Dragon Fest, and Green Dragon Fest takes up.
Well, of course,
a gargantuan
that's just a
amount of his
huge amount of commitment for him.
Yeah.
The
And I
interesting
also-
thing for me in terms of that subscriber thing, Derik, is that I go from a regular video or even a fairly good one that's like 80% view time from subscribers to
Yeah.
one that actually breaks out, and for me breaks out as 1,000 views, which winds up having 2/3 of the view
Yeah.
time from new viewers.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I have not looked at view counts, subscriber counts, who's watching in a year. Like I,
Right.
couldn't
I
even
also
tell. I
looked
have
at it
no
right
idea.
now
I
because
have
Derik
no
was talking
idea.
about it.
And
I
I
love
only
numbers.
yeah, and I only
Never
look at it
looked.
because I'm a data scientist, and
Yeah.
and even then I look at it
Never.
extremely unfrequently. How so many of the features that they give YouTube content creators, like A/B testing and all these different thumbnail stuff,
Yeah.
I don't use any of it. Mark was talking about, like, when you come onto YouTube and it basically tries to make you feel bad because it goes like, your last video got 37% less views than from your core. Maybe you should consider doing something different. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I ignore all of that. I don't give a shit about it because we live in a very different world than these other dungeon tubers.
Also, to be fair
and I feel bad for
to live streamers like us, Derik, they do that much more on the published videos that are not live streams.
True.
In fact, the live streams don't really do the balloons and the other things as much. So at first, I didn't understand what people were talking about when they all talked about the balloons. I was like, I don't get balloons, even if it does well. I don't need the balloons. I don't care about the balloons. But what is this thing with balloons? Do I just not know where that even is? And then I did one that was a published video and it got a balloon, and I was like, oh, so it's only on those.
I don't know
to be
balloons
fair.
are, but I got hearts. Hey, look, I'm doing the hearts. I'm doing the smiley
I don't know. I think
faces.
that data is
Yay,
beautiful
I'm doing all the
sometimes, and I
pictures.
enjoy that,
Yay,
which is the
yay,
mainly the
emojis.
main reason that I look these things up, because
Emojis.
obviously, regardless of if an Arcade Mark video does 1,000 or 300 or 50, all of those are that's the difference between what slightly under $3, right, or or a few cents.
Well, the
Yeah,
other
little
thing that I'll
emoji
tell you,
train
I'll tell you what YouTube
Oh, it's
really
fun.
hates about my channel. What YouTube really hates about my channel is, again, YouTube doesn't care who you watch. All they care is how long you're on the platform and how many ads they can serve you. And so the one thing that YouTube hates about my channel is, and YouTube has become horrible about this, is it will try to serve an ad like every 5 minutes. And when I do a 6-hour video, if I don't go in, YouTube will literally put in, I'm not even kidding, 100+ ad breaks into my video automatically.
Derik hates money.
Yes. So I have to go in and I have to manually delete them all because that's ridiculous. But YouTube basically hates me because people are sitting and watching my video for 6 hours,
Derik doesn't.
or
They
whatever.
don't hate you.
but I'm
ignore
not
you.
serving any ads. And so YouTube absolutely does not serve my content to people. So the more ads that you're willing to serve to your audience, the more YouTube will promote you. Because
By the way,
it's
time for
gonna get more
ad
engagement.
break. So,
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Oh, when I'm live streaming, it's always like, do an ad break, do an ad break, do an ad break.
well,
do an
now
ad
we're
break,
now
do
we're
an ad
doing a
break.
real live ad break. We're going to do the Year of Mysteries. We announced the final last one that Mark is writing. And what is it? What are you?
I have
What?
written.
what is
It is Enigmites. It is a bizarre ancestry
And there's pictures
or
of them
species that you can
next to us.
play that has been infested by the power of enigmas, beings from beyond reality, malevolent beings from beyond reality with their own schemes and plans. They're puppet masters who are always 10 steps ahead. And they can't control you just because they put that power in you, but they surely wouldn't have invested their power in you for nothing. They have some kind of plan for you.
They have a plan and they don't even know what it is. But, well, they know what it is, but you don't know what it is.
You
And then
do not.
You are being morphed and turned into something horrific. And yeah, it's bad.
It
It's
has some
bad.
fun words in it. My favorite is the tentaculiferous enigmite. That's just like a fun word.
Yes. And they have things like eyes growing out of their body, mouths growing out of their bodies, boils, tentacles, limbs that are long, things like that. Weird
Living
stuff.
blood that they can
Living
control.
blood. Yeah, that's actually the animated GIF in the newsletter. That woman, she's got the red around her. That's actually blood. That's
her
animated
blood
around.
because it's part of her to the extent she can just wield it.
So yeah, if you back,
That's
if you
a
back
sanguine
now,
enigmite.
you will get I keep missing it. If you back now, you will get enigmites. In a few weeks, you'll get it in January. And the biggest one of all, and I didn't even do anything because I only announced it yesterday, is if you go to Eldamon.
This one's outrageous. You all should probably do this because I don't even know if what's going to happen to Steven if like the tariffs or any kind of thing shift in between now and then. For $1, people, if you go to the link that Steven is going to put in, a refundable $1, you can pre-order the Eldamon Legends project that's coming out next year, and Steven will give you the $90 special edition of the original Eldamon book for free if you back at any of the like not $1 build your own tiers, any of the actual tiers when the Kickstarter comes out. And that's not going to be until next year. So you definitely want to put your $1 down on that if you are even remotely interested in Eldamon, or if you just love Squirrel Ash.
Who doesn't love Squirrel Ash?
It's outrageous to get a $90 for free. This makes our Mimic that was free, which was already an incredible free incentive for another previous similar thing. It blows it out of the water in terms of the production value of the free thing.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Even I'm like, why did I do that?
Even Steven said to me, he's like, I think this might be too crazy, but I'm gonna try it. It is a gamble. Please help this gamble pay off. Because we would love to give you guys cool free stuff like that all the time. So if the gamble pays off, we can keep doing it.
It's there's a method behind the madness, but yeah, big well, because I figured A, I wanted to do a special edition, and B, it's hard to do Legends because it's new Eldamon, new powers, new lore. There's a lot of new stuff, but it already ties into Eldamon. And if you don't have Eldamon, then it's kind of worthless to you. So we're like, all right, well, if you sign up, you get Eldamon. So you get it. So you can start using it. So it's sort of like a starter set in a way.
Even if you miss this, you'll still be able to, like, there'll be a more expensive tier on the Kickstarter to get it. But you're gonna save a ton of money by getting a $90 hardcover and all the PDFs and digital assets.
And if you already have Eldamon, you don't have this because no one does. No one has it.
There was no such thing as a special edition, and we wanted to make one that matches your special editions and everything else for your
people
shelf.
Were complaining. They're like, "Well, I don't want to buy things twice." I'm like, "Okay, how about a $90 book for $1?" I mean, yeah, you have to back the Kickstarter, but it's reasonable. I think that Kickstarter costs less than the book. At the lowest regular tier.
It does. It's significantly less than the book.
Yeah.
That's what's wild about it. This is like more than 50% off just from that one incentive alone.
And Battlezoo Eldamon Legends for $60. So
people who watch this channel know that I'm not one to feign when I think that a deal that Steven is giving is crazy and say that all of his things are. I'll just be like, yeah, this is good. This one is like legitimately out there, so you may want to look into it.
So someone asked how Shadowzoo Bestiary is progressing. We just finished up all the monsters.
Monster stats are doing great.
Yeah, they're done.
Art is coming along.
Art's coming along. I mean,
the
it's slow.
Classes are doing well.
It's
I just saw another class yesterday from Michael and looked great. Some of the new classes are really good. And we're also getting some of the monster parts in. We have, I think, all the monster parts for Elemental Storm because those were kind of easier to do as a series. So that means that if we can get the classes for Elemental Storm,
I'm trying to work an Elemental Storm first.
Then we can get the art of it. That one might be able to come out sooner than the others.
Well, it's probably going to go in a weird order because it's probably going to go kind of backwards.
Yeah, because the thing is that the backers, the super mega backers who created their own monsters are all being added to Monster Hunt for a very specific reason, which is that one was based on a contest that had fewer winners. So it just has fewer monsters. Yeah. So it makes sense to add those extra 20 monsters or however many it is all to that one book to beef it up, to make them a bit more even. And because of that, since those monsters are, behind the other monsters they're being made, that one's probably going to come out last.
You can still back it now if you want. And
what about the contest?
So this is what happened with the contest. So I was starting to work on the contest, and I was talking to my coders yesterday because we need a very specific form for you to enter in your dungeon. And I was trying to do it through Google Forms. And then I said, you know what? I'll just write a website for this because it's literally going to be easier for me and my coders to write a website that does exactly what I needed to do. So I just have to quickly go and work with Greg, and he and I will make a custom website where you can submit your entries. The good news is it's not going to affect, I mean, it's a little delayed, but the art is delayed. Like everything is a little more delayed because originally I was going to have this book done sooner because we were going to use the color art. But since we're creating 600 to 700 pieces of new art, it's taken a little time. So it's a little slower than I expected, which is good because now we have more time for the dungeon contest. So I'm going to basically make a website so everyone can submit their dungeons. So
that's great.
Yeah. And I'm just making it's very specific. It's going to be kind of like what we had for the old RPG Superstar. Which,
do you think that it would be possible to give people the starting to like fire the starting gun while the submission still doesn't work quite yet?
No, because it only took us a few days to write the website.
Oh, okay. So you're thinking it's going to be like next week or something like that? Yeah, I'm going to
try to do it by next week. I'm going to work on it tomorrow with Greg.
I'm glad to hear that because people sometimes ask me. So now I'll tell them we're guessing next week, but it's a website and you never know if those are going to work when you make them.
Yeah, so that's what happened. And so, there's a lot going on. And Release the Kraken Pathfinder is done. And I mean, it's done.
Pathfinder is done. Really? The only thing we were missing for the last few days was actually the name of the playtesters. That was the last thing we had.
It's actually
and we
done.
got that.
I'm going to release
5e is actually getting close. The back matter for 5e is done. I heard that the not back matter is very close too for the text. All the art is in.
Yeah, all the art's in.
Once that comes in, I'll just do a pass on that and we'll be doing better on that. But the Pathfinder probably could go out.
Yeah, I'm just waiting a few days because I can't, there's a limit to how many things I can submit per day to go out, and we're actually hit it. Believe it or not.
Oh my gosh!
Well, you have to hit.
Is that for Foundry? Is that for?
No. It's for Shopify. It's for Shopify. It's for Battlezoo.com. There's a 10,000 limit, and I hit the 10,000 limit. So it's hard to explain, but I recently I updated
what's
per day how many updates you can email out to people, and so like if I added a whole bunch of things to the site today. And it went over 10,000, so I can't send out more emails. So I'm going to do it like in a day or two. So
wait, does that mean you sent out 10,000 emails to each person, or that you sent out emails to 10,000 people?
10,000 emails total.
So does that mean that if you have a mailing list that's like, let's say for some reason you have 50,000 customers, obviously
the newsletter's different. The newsletters I send out hundreds of thousands of emails.
Sure, but let's say you have 50,000 customers and you want to send in Shopify an email that says your file has been updated with errata. Does that mean it takes 5 days because you have to do it 10, then 20, then 30,
no,
then 40, then 50?
You upgrade to a different plan, and the 10,000 plan is the standard. And we rarely go above 10,000, but I did a whole bunch of updates this last couple of days.
Got it. Well, that explains everything.
Legends. There's a lot.
There's a lot going on in that back end. That's
not a lot going on.
Whenever anyone asks me why something happens, I'm like, the back end is mysterious. I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know what it is. And now I'm hearing about it, and there was a reason.
So wait, we got Living Legends. It's being printed now. I got the proofs yesterday.
Oh yeah, did you show that awesome evil eye to everyone, or just to me and Derik in the beginning?
No, this is everyone. So this came in yesterday, and this is the.
I think everyone saw it.
This is the proof, and
show them the back a little bit closer too, because I love those stylized images of the different ancestries. Also,
yeah, that's cool.
I work on. I make those with my artist, and then I got this too. This is the Elemental Storm, and then I have
that is also really rad.
Yeah, this has the.
Think of how cool that has to feel for like the grand prize winner too. It's just like, look at this stylized.
So the grand prize is the cover.
Colorful. That's it. It's like it's their whole band of the different seasons.
And this came in. This is the standard cover.
Also rad.
So. And then I finished up the adventure, and then we finished up the Eldamon yesterday. What did you do, Derik? Oh, that's right. You're sitting on your ass doing YouTube videos. We always make Derik feel like a lazy bum.
What do you mean? His 6-hour videos are like, that's a lot.
I mean, that's like a work day.
That's 6 hours. That's still a significant amount of stuff that's being done.
I mean, he was sick, yet he managed to be well enough to go to Vegas. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I got better. That's why
I got better. It's like,
You got
I'm
better.
so sick. I'm so sick. Vegas? I feel better.
Listen, if I have
Turned him into a newt.
if I have the opportunity to go to Vegas for 2 days, I'm going to take it.
Oh man, I know. I just can't. I just don't know why you don't invite me. I want to go to Vegas. I want to go to Vegas.
You're not cool enough.
I'm definitely
Wait,
not cool enough.
Steven, if you help Derik set up his stuff in Vegas, maybe he'll be willing to give you a room.
Well, there's actually a convention in Vegas in June, in May, and I think Derik and I are going to be going. It's going to be fun.
There you go.
Derik, it'll be so much fun. It's going to be
Yes,
fun.
my lord.
What?
More work.
It's not
Yes,
work.
my lord.
I don't have a booth.
Ready for work.
No, it's not even going to be work for you. We're just going to go. You don't have to go. I'm going either way. It's just.
Wait, are you going as Roll for Combat booth or just going to hang out?
Hobnobbing at a it's at a licensing trade show.
Oh yeah, it's the licensing one that you were talking about. That's right.
That is the most Stephen Glicker sounding thing of all time.
Yeah, well, it apparently is really weird, but maybe
very
interesting.
Popular.
People who have licenses and people who are looking for licenses go there.
They say it's
hang out and
insanely popular. Yes. Speaking of which, Dungeon Crawl Carl. Oh my god, that 7th book. I'm up to the 7th book.
Are you liking it?
It's so good. It's so unbelievably good. I told you everything they did. They make $2 to $3 million on comic books. Whatever they do makes millions and millions of dollars. I'm just like, can't believe it. That is good. I'm just waiting for them to announce the TV show. That's all I'm waiting for. It is really good. And if you become a patron of his, he releases the 8th book, which is done, and he releases like 2 chapters a week. So when I finish the 7th, I think I'm gonna have to become a patron just to start reading the 8th book. And I never do that. That's how good it is. I could do a whole show on this book. It's fascinating.
Maybe you should at some point
Really
do a show on like what
Don't
can you learn.
invite me.
But hold
I will
on.
not invite you.
It can be like what can you learn for your D&D or tabletop RPG game from Dungeon Crawl.
Well, it doesn't even talk. It's not even about that anymore. Like that whole part of it. That's what's so fascinating. Because I read a lot of these books, and they keep going into it's morphing. It actually is very similar. You know how Harry Potter started out as classes and how much it was into the class stuff, but then by the end, how it just changed into.
It was terrible. Yeah.
Well, not terrible, but do you know what I mean?
And then ruined people's childhoods based on weird ideologies.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the book structure.
No, you're talking about what we're really talking about is
of the book.
You're talking about book 7, which is terrible.
Well, book 7, but I'm not even talking about books. 6,
you're talking about book 5, because after the end of book 4, Voldemort is returned, and then books 5, 6, and 7 become like we're the A team. Suddenly, it's like the Avengers versus Team Voldemort.
Well, imagine they do that, but they do it well. Because the thing is, gamification gets boring. Okay, it's really fun for a book or 2 or 3, but
are you
after
talking
a while,
about the Cerebus syndrome? By the way,
it's almost like the whole concept of these stupid lit RPGs is fundamentally flawed.
But are you talking about the Cerebus syndrome, where something that starts off as like Cerebus the Aardvark is where it's from, because it was the fantasy parody, it was about jokes,
series,
and then it suddenly
300.
became like super.
It became
ridiculously dark and dramatic.
So deep, so dark, no dialogue. It became like, what the hell is this? I know, because by the end I was like, why am I reading this? Except imagine this done well. Imagine the opposite. Okay, I have a good example. Better Call Saul. Because Better Call Saul.
Never saw it.
Breaking Bad.
Never saw it.
Okay, well, if you have any millions of people listening out there.
I don't like cheering for bad people.
Better Call Saul is fantastic. Actually, Better Call Saul is way better than.
He's a bad.
You know what, Derik?
Derik,
I'm with you on this. I actually did watch some of Breaking Bad, but then I stopped because he broke really bad, and I didn't want to watch him anymore.
Well, what makes
You know,
Breaking Bad
If
fascinating
I want to
is
watch
that,
bad people win, I'll just turn on the news.
true, but this was
That's my
before.
opinion.
This was back in the early 2000s when things weren't as horrible. Anyhow, the thing about that makes the show fascinating is that he continuously goes up the ranks, and as he goes up the ranks, the game changes, because when he first starts out, like first you have to be like just a dealer, but then you have to be, you know, like it, and then eventually it ends up going to the point where he's working with the cartels. And then past the cartels, he's working with like government agencies. So it keeps getting higher and higher, kind of like role-playing games where first you're just killing goblins, and then you're killing, you know, like dragons, and then you're killing demigods, and then you're killing gods. That's the same thing. It's like it keeps evolving, and the game changes because the stakes and the rules are different and
You know,
higher
not every
levels.
RPG has power escalation. Some
Well,
RPGs have, you know.
But this is what makes Dungeon Crawl Carl so good. And
Steven, what would you say to Woland in the chat who said, I started to read Dungeon Crawl Carl because of Steven overhyped, and I didn't like it just from the start. I read some of this lit RPG, but this one just didn't hit me.
oh, because I love lit RPG, and that's like saying like
But they loved other lit RPGs, but not Dungeon Crawl Carl.
no, he didn't say that. He said
Yeah, he said, I read
he didn't
some of
say
this
I
lit
loved.
RPG,
He
but
said I
this one
loved.
just didn't
No, he
hit
said
me.
I read some lit RPG. He didn't say loved. He said he read. I have no idea if he liked or didn't like it, but I don't
Well,
know.
he said-
I don't know what
no,
to
he
tell
said
you.
he didn't. He said he didn't like the Dungeon Crawl Call from the start.
Right.
Yes,
well,
but that he read other lit RPGs, but this one he didn't like.
Well, the start actually, I would say, is a little rough. It's a little rough this start because it's brutal. It's very depressing. It's a very depressing start. I will give you that. It's quite brutal, but that's also how a lot of these start off. Because you know the world is pretty much destroyed and everyone's killed, and except for like 0.00001% of the population that's in this lit RPG. So it's kind of a brutal series. But to be honest, I kind of like that.
Can something be called a tangent if it's going back to our main? Because something you just said made me think about something. And
yeah, we can go back. We can
Okay, good.
re-tangent.
Tangent us back into the main thing, Derik. We believe in you.
I want you to create a poll because I'm actually curious about something.
No. Okay. Yes.
I'm trying to think of how to structure this.
Okay, what do you want to know? I'll try to use some.
What I want to know is, how much, like, is the pedigree of a dungeon tuber important to your continued watching of them?
By the pedigree, do you mean like what their credits and things are outside of their dungeon tube, or even just like how long have they been a dungeon tuber?
Yeah, well, not only how long have they been playing the game, but also like, you know, can you watch them play the game? Do they run? You know, do they show actual plays of them showing like, do you have basically like, do you have proof that they actually are a good game master? Or like maybe another way to put it is like, does someone have to be a good game master in order to be a good dungeon tuber?
So you want to know whether they're bona fides?
Yeah, I guess. And how important is that to you when you watch?
That's going to be hard to do in a poll of how important. It's easier to do a yes or no, Derik. So
yeah, I guess yes or no.
Yes or no, do you consider the do you consider a dungeon tuber's credentials to be one of the most important factors?
Yeah, that's the poll.
In watching them.
Yeah, that's the poll.
That's the poll.
Because I just always, it's very interesting.
You can do
to
it,
me.
aren't you?
No, I'm not a mod.
I am a moderator, but I don't think moderators can do polls.
Fine.
I can also transform myself into you and do it if you want, Steven.
Don't do that.
I have the ability to do
Start
so.
a poll. What's the question?
How the question is, are a dungeon tuber's credentials one of the most important factors to you in watching them? Yes or no?
Because I think about a lot of the times, like with like video game players and stuff like that, right? Like, and my understanding is that there are some people who watch, you know, Twitch streamers because they're really good at, say, whatever, Call of Duty or Diablo.
Yes.
But there's other people who aren't necessarily particularly good at the game, but they're entertaining, they're fun, they're, you know, whatever, enjoyable
Like
to
Bob.
watch. So Yeah, like watching. Yeah, like
Bob.
he's talking about Bob from Night's the Last Call, my co-host. Who
Yeah, not Bob World Builder.
Yeah,
but Derek's co-host.
Yeah, my co-host who plays Baldur's Gate 3 on Mondays with his brother, and they're terrible at the game. Like he's always accidentally fireballing his own party and all this other stuff. Now, granted, they get 5 views.
Sorry, Derek. Steven put in the most important factor instead of an important factor, so we're going to get fewer
Doesn't
people
matter.
who
It is
yes.
it is directionally correct. And so it's interesting to me though, because
even I'm going to say no to this though, and I think that their credentials are pretty important to me, but it's not the most important factor because if they're boring, then it doesn't matter if they have
right. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, let's say there's a dungeon tuber, and they're like, "Hey, you can watch me. I put my games up on the internet. I've been game mastering for 20 years. I have a width of experience." And then there's another person who's like, "Hey, I just discovered 5th edition last week. And I'm going to
come unbox it with me. Come explore this new thing.
And I'm going to give you GM advice, and obviously those are very polarized,
Sure. And even watching actual plays are a different thing too. Some people actually really like to watch unskilled people playing,
right?
Because of the fact that they like to enjoy the foibles of them messing up, whereas the skilled person is just kind of gonna just win it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't actually like watching that myself, but I heard about it. And I tried to ask someone who was watching unskilled people do a video game actual plays.
Dr. Waits, that's actually a good point, which is like, and I could say this, I know a lot of people, but like Mark and Linda are two of the most highly skilled, game designer people that I know. And they're certainly amongst the most productive. And, and yet you have this ability in Arcane Mark to go watch them. And obviously, as Mark has alluded to, they don't exactly aren't rolling in views. Whereas
but are they rolling in combat?
But you might have, there might be somebody who is what I would consider to be an initiate, a neophyte, who, for lack of a better word, like, do I want to learn calculus from someone who just learned algebra? Probably not. But apparently that is not the case. Apparently a lot of people, a lot of people don't care about the credentials.
No one cares about
which would imply then.
Even I said no on the credential question, even though I care about the credentials, because it said, is it the most important factor?
Oh my God.
It's not.
Okay. But, so what is the most important factor? That they're hot?
Yes.
The most important factor for me is that they keep my attention. That's the most important factor for me. Even if they have the best credentials, if they don't keep my attention, then I'm not as likely to watch. Yeah. And it's very difficult to keep my attention.
I guess
I actually don't watch as often as I should.
Right. But I guess it just comes down to, it's like, so what that poll suggests is that most people aren't watching DungeonTube in order to be educated by skilled and experienced and qualified people. They are watching.
Does it though?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I would want to be educated by someone who's skilled or qualified, but the poll only allowed me to pick if it was my number one factor.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But the number one factor should be how good they are. Like, right? Like, I mean, outside of there might be other reasons, but like the number one reason that I would want to choose, say, a professor is because they know what they're talking about. That should be the number one reason that you choose to want to, especially if you're paying for an education. Now, is it cool if the professor is also, entertaining and fun? Yeah, of course. But should anything else be your number one? I don't think so. But yet, okay, he's redone the poll, Mark.
Yay! 100% of the people picked yes because it was only me.
Mark's pedantry has won out.
Well, in chat, Derek Rawlings said Mark is marking on this survey question, and I agree 100%.
Well, no, I did both. Now we can do a comparison if it's the most important or just very important.
Got it. It's still 50-50.
As the data scientist in you should like that.
That is true.
I actually really like having both because it can show how much the question shapes things.
That's correct.
One of the most fascinating
that was my plan all along.
There you go.
No, but from the
one of the most fascinating things I've seen in surveys, survey science, when I've done research on how to research, is just how wildly different you can get answers from people just by shaping the question very slightly.
Of course.
You can get people to go from like 70 to 80% one way to 70 to 80% the other way about something that's like big enough that they should actually have a very solid opinion about it.
Now, Techno Monkey brings up an interesting point, which is you don't want university professors teaching elementary school students. There is some value to that. Certainly early childhood education is its own skill set.
Right. Let's assume they're skilled in knowing the correct thing that they need to know for the class they're teaching. I have seen some professors who are probably brilliant. They're probably a smarter person and more technically skilled than some of my favorite professors at MIT, who still were very skilled and smart, but that were not as good of professors, and I wouldn't want to take their class because they weren't effective communicators. They couldn't get the information out there. Sometimes one of the classic ones that you often would see it with math professors who had this issue, it was so classic, it was almost a stereotype at MIT that was made fun of, was the word trivial, where they would actually just, because they were so brilliant, they would skip very important things that pretty much everyone in the class, except for like one or two math geniuses, needed to have explained to them. Be like, this part is trivial, so we'll just go here, and they've skipped 7 steps. So, like, in some cases, their actual knowledge of the subject was hindering them because they couldn't understand what someone who didn't know it would think.
Well, and that is what I was trying to prove with this poll is maybe the quote unquote established dungeon tubers are now seen as these high level experts who are perhaps out of touch with the needs of the vast majority of the people. Because as much as these dungeon tubers might be complaining about the downfall of their channel, there are also channels, some of which I've followed. We have followed their careers with great interest, like Mystic Arc DM, who went from 0 subscribers to almost 100,000 subscribers in 1 year, and Dottie just started his channel, and as far as I can tell, is relatively new-ish to the hobby. Not like literally last week, but doesn't have decades of experience. I don't even know if he's decades old. So there are dungeon tubers who have become who are doing very well and have grown their channels very significantly, but they seem to be coming from a place of almost noobness. And so I wonder sometimes if maybe the dungeon tubers establishment as these, the ivory tower of internet or TTRPG expertise and knowledge is almost working against them.
So it went from 76% no to about 50-50 with the change. Although I can't see the exact number because it looks like while Steven was like closing it, he may have done something else in chat, or I don't know. It disappeared this time, but it went to about 50-50. And that is not as drastic as a survey question can go.
Not 50-50. It's 61.
Oh no, now it's 61-39. Okay. Yeah, well, at the last time I saw it before it disappeared off my feed, it was.
Yeah. Well, it's in the chat.
But now it's here and it's 61-39. So it only changed it by less as time was going on.
Yeah, I mean, AKA Kira says, I think that's a valid statement. They may have lost touch with their focus. I have unsubbed from some because they became more holier than thou with the rules, Pathfinder and D&D, which is interesting. Glenn, we didn't really define credentials. It's more of like, do you vet? How important is vetting your source of information?
How much do you care about the experience that they have with the game, whether that is as a professional designer author, which some people are, or more like, are they a veteran who's played for a long time, GM for a long time? Have they written advice books about it in the past? How many credentials do they have? Which is not to say that credentials guarantee you even that they're skilled compared to, you could have a newcomer who's just brilliantly skilled.
Correct. That is a possibility. But back when I was very engaged in competitive Magic the Gathering, there are obviously channels of people who talk about the game, who have really essentially no credentials. I ignore those channels. If you were doing a video or a live stream or a draft, and I'm like, and I know who you are because you have multiple Pro Tour top 8s, multiple Grand Prix wins, because you're in the Hall of Fame, because you've won Worlds. I am going to watch your videos because I want to learn how to become a better player / whatever. And so I'm going to engage with your content more than somebody who just has a Magic the Gathering channel and they're nobody, and has no credentials to their name. So for me, that element of credentials is very important. And I just wondered how important it was to people when it came to their TTRPG content. And the answer seems to be,
it is one of the most important factors for under half of people,
less than half,
over a third. And that's on our stream, to be clear, who probably care about credentials more than the average by a significant amount, due to the fact that they're here to listen to a group of people who not all of us have the same credentials, but importantly, one of the things we have that's special is that Stephen will break down the financial and kind of behind the scenes business aspects of the industry that a lot of people don't talk about or don't have the business experience to describe.
They can't. And then also they can't talk about what we talk about is like how a book gets made, and there's only
you have your own unique elements, but Derek Rawlings, being very reasonable, says we're not all trying to become pro competitors at game mastery. No, but my flawed assumption is that why else would you engage with YouTube DungeonTuber content if not to become more skilled and more aware and better, more proficient at the games that you want to play?
By the way, so since Derik, I'm sure, has racquetball,
I do.
I have the final aspect of this discussion that we can tackle, which is there are several people when they quit YouTube, the most famous one being How to Become a Better GM. And he explained in detail why he quit YouTube. And that's the fascinating one. It's like every time I see these, most times, well, sometimes they just disappear and you never see them again. Sometimes it's always kind of the same reasons, which makes sense. It's either burnout, which is pretty common. That I won't name names, but we know a couple that happened to. Another one is real life, which Baron Drop's a good example. Real life got in the way and he didn't have time to do as much, but he's trying to get back into it, which is great. But the third one, which is the most fascinating one, is that they weren't making enough money from it, or they just think, no one was watching it, which is legitimate. But it is interesting is because this is one of the only hobbies. So I took an acting class in college, and one of the things that always stuck with me is that acting is one of the few endeavors that requires an audience. Okay, like if there's no audience, what are you doing? Okay, if you're acting in front by yourself, then that's not really you're just doing it for yourself. Like who are you acting for? So this is a similar thing. So if you're doing a podcast or you're doing a video and no one's watching it, like literally no one, like if 10 people are watching it, is that enough? Like do you do this for the audience of 10, or what is your minimum number that you need to do this for, where you feel like I'm doing this for a reason?
It is crazy though, because I'm old enough to have grown up basically before there was an internet, and even when the internet was really small. And the idea, right, like I would go to Gen Con, in early 2000s or whatever, and you'd have a panel, and there might be 150 people, 150 people there to listen to Ed Greenwood or Sean K. Reynolds or Monty Cook or John Tweet or Richard Baker or whatever talk about whatever. And it just seemed like, wow, how awesome is that? And now we just brush over. It's like, oh, only 2,000 people watched your video. Like, barely.
To be fair though, Derik, if there was like a way at that time in that technology for other people around the world to have also watched those people give that talk in real time, and not just there were limited seats at Gen Con, there was 150 chairs, you would probably have gotten more than 2,000 back then. I don't know.
Too. There are a lot of seminars that get published from Gen Con Live, Paizo, and you'll see that they had like 10. 500 views.
No, not even 500. They'll have like 100. It's like I see that all the time. I'm like, I'll click on it. Like, no one. And it's like, wow, why is nobody watching this?
It is. I will say this, I mean, obviously I like Pathfinder 2. I think it's deservedly so. That's number 2 game or whatever. It boggles my mind how Paizo gets so few views. I mean, I'm obviously a critic of, the quality of their audio visual and their lack of production quality and all that other stuff. But even outside of that, it is mind-boggling to me of how little engagement they get on their live streams and videos and views. It makes no sense to me.
The Dungeons and Dragons, the Dungeons and Dragons YouTube channel, some of their videos get 10, 20,000 views, 30,000. And I'm like, that's it? This is Dungeons and Dragons. You should be getting hundreds of thousands
but I even
views,
feel like the
PF2,
I even feel like, though, like the PF2 audience is a more, dare I say, refined audience and tends to probably be more online, more aware, more, YouTube.
Maybe, but think of how big the D&D audience is. And Steven is saying that the official D&D videos, which I haven't looked at those numbers, so I'll just trust on that.
Low.
If they're so low, 10, 20, 30,
yeah,
listen,
all the time.
Those are lower than the, quote, low, but not really that low, crafting videos that Professor Dungeon Master had that he then said he was quitting the crafting videos. Both of his last 2 were 35 and 31. They were above 30. So think about that. That's from the one that has the official brand of Dungeons and Dragons, the name that is known around the world to a high percentage of everyone.
Let's look I'm just looking at them. Dungeons.
It's just always been so surprising to me.
I'm just curious. I'm going to so Dungeons and Dragons has 668,000 followers.
That's a lot
on subscribers. 669,000, and they just did, okay. So Forgotten Realms.
This is on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. So when they did official trailer, by the way,
by
a trailer that's 1 minute and 20 seconds long.
Yeah,
that did 2.9 million views.
Okay, that's a lot more than 10 to 30,000, Stephen.
Well, you can let me keep going.
But by comparison,
and then you have One Shot Tyranny of the Dragons did 30,000 views. You have
that's fair.
Tales from Wood Creek, 19,000 views. Tales from Wood Creek Starts Here, 28,000 views. Critical Roles, Why We Play Dungeons and Dragons, 132,000, which is good, but not.
And that also had Critical Role, and it was during a controversy of why they play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and then they even have Welcome to the Hellfire Club, 49,000 views. The Owen's Right Hand, a D&D adventure from Japan, 20,000 views. But then you have things like, it's really kind of amazing. And then you have, the Forgotten Realms one shot, 1.3 billion views. So I don't know, they'll get 2 million views and they'll get 20,000 views. It's like, they're really all over the place.
I already know that my perspective on things is biased, right? Like, I don't watch television. So all these people in chat are basically saying things along the lines of they found a way to tap into an angle of entertainment. I don't really watch YouTube or television to be entertained. I watch to be educated. And when it comes to even my hobbies, I want to be educated. In fact, my hobby is for the entertainment. That's why it's my hobby. So it's not like it's my professional. I'm not a professional DM or anything like that. But anyways,
Master Your Weapon in new D&D, 10,000 views.
And as if to prove my point, even though he does sometimes some advice. You said D&D had 600,000 and change subs. Jacob from XP to level 3 has almost 800,000.
Exactly.
So a channel that is just a guy doing skits with himself. Making fun of D&D is way more popular than D&D itself, which is really interesting. and also gets to why people would rather watch a 15-second short than a 5-hour video from me, a 5-hour live stream.
Well, it's also fascinating. So Red Letter Media,
and I don't blame you.
Red Letter Media, they did a video.
It's hilarious, Glenn.
Red video. They did a video basically explaining YouTubers complain about YouTube. That's what it's called. 3 months ago, because the algorithm 3 months ago changed massively. And suddenly people were seeing their views getting literally cut in half, if not a third, like right away. And people were losing their minds because people make money off of this. And they start off this video by literally saying, we're going to be complaining about the YouTube algorithm for all 5 of you who are going to watch this video. Right. And I thought that was funny. Now I watch everything of theirs.
I mean, Michelle, Michael or whatever, Michelle DeVost. Yeah, I mean, I generally think that at least 20, like I might get like 80 to 100 to 120 viewers in my live streams. And I'm convinced that like 20% of those, at least 30% of those are bots.
So anyhow, they got from that video, and they do pretty well. I mean, they get anywhere from 200 to 500,000 views, 600,000, depends on their video. And their videos do very well over time. This got 770,000 views. Them just sitting around to each other just for 25 minutes complaining about YouTube. That's it. And even they did another video like a few weeks later going, why are you all watching that? It's like, you know, it's fascinating. It just
people then watch the why are you watching that video too?
No, they do a mixture of sitting around and talking. They do video reviews of movies. They do half in the bag. They do review where they look at old movies, and they have just, you know, like take videos. Like they did half in the bag of the home. Pete Daverson, horror icon, yes or no, things like that. So anyhow, yeah, it's just, even they were talking about, why is anyone watching this? We thought we just did this because we just wanted to talk about it. But my point being is that it's impossible to know what the hell anyone's going to watch on YouTube. Seriously, it's impossible. No one knows. I mean, these guys are one of the most successful.
That's why I think it's so stressful. Because at the end of the day,
it's very stressful.
End of the day,
if you care.
At the end of the day,
if that's your money, if that's your income stream,
no, but I'm going to say it.
Care, Steve.
At the end of the day, I firmly believe this, and I say this as a small player in the YouTube content space, but I mean, I'm sure this is true for all the big players as well. At the end of the day, you truly have no idea on whether or not you're going to make a video and it's going to get 20K views and make you put $100 in your pocket, or if it's going to get 250K views, right, and put, you know, $1,500 in your pocket. You have no idea. And imagine if your job, I mean, I guess it's like working 100% on commission, and you have no idea. Like, you're like, I could go into work today and sell 10 cars, or I could sell 0 cars. And you know what? I have no idea what sells a car. Right? Like I have thoughts about what people care about for cars, but it turns out I have no idea. And you know, that's a crazy way to make a living. And that's, you know, you talk about you killed D&D DungeonTubers. I think YouTube just killed D&D DungeonTubers because it's too stressful. It's just too, that method.
I think that's one of the things Professor talked about too, is the YouTube grind and the YouTube algorithm.
No, it's terrible. I couldn't do it. I mean, I that's why I literally stopped looking at my views because it was too stressful, because I was trying to figure it out. And the answer is, the only thing you know is you don't know anything. And that's
the only true knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing.
And that's true. And I'm very happy. Now, there is a little bit, like, if you do controversial videos, like,
sure,
I'll know, like, I knew this video would do okay. And it did. I mean, we have 220 people watching, you know, it's doing pretty well. This type of, you know, topic people will be more interested in, as opposed to Derik, Steve, and Mark talk about the Dark Crystal. We would get,
or Steven explains why Dungeon Crawl Carl is going to give you lessons to make your D&D game
that would do
even
insanely well, because, dude,
Steven will love it, and then it will just tank down, and then later on we'll talk about how it had like these weirdly deep insights that were really interesting, but then why did no one watch it? Just like the one about movie tips that even my dad, who sometimes watches just to be like, what are you even doing, Mark, has said that he could understand that movie tips video and he thought it was great. And it's one of like our least viewed videos on Roll for Combat.
That's like my best.
It was like one of our best ones, right?
I know.
I will say that
the
the Dark Crystal book,
it's
it is
amazing.
It's very pretty and it's very cool, and it's by the way,
incredibly well done.
It's actually a game,
Gorgeous,
and a campaign.
Yeah,
and it's actually a time sensitive campaign. It's a 99-day campaign. You basically have 99 days, and it's kind of a hex crawl. It's not a linear railroad. The problem, Davin Perry, is, and this is one of the reasons why I'm a little bit salty about it, is it's not really based off of the movie. It's really based off of the show, and I didn't really like the show, so I kind of bounced off of it. But,
I know the showrunner for that show. Javier Grillo Markowitz went to college with him. I'm going to tell him that you hated it.
It wasn't. It tried to,
it was
like,
so good. The show
when you
Netflix,
tell him that Derek hated it, what is he going to say?
Amazing.
He'll
He'll say,
be like,
Derek.
The best thing I saw. You know what it reminded me of? It's not exactly this, but it reminded me. There's a new ad coming out for the new Starfleet Academy show. Oh, and it basically shows like a bunch of young beautiful people laying. And my favorite, all the comments, and my favorite one was Deep Space 90210.
Oh, I saw that one. It looks so. Critical Drinker just did a whole rant, and he's like, "I give up." He literally is like, "I give up. I give up." Why? It looks terrible. But my point is that there was an element of the Dark Crystal TV show that, to me, felt like they were trying to make it too like modern drama, poppy, whatever. Like it wasn't. That's not what I wanted. Dark Crystal was a much more sort of like. But he had a whole world sketched out. There are notes and stuff that he had.
No, I mean, even the map of the world, it all looks gorgeous and beautiful.
No, but I'm talking about, Henson had a world that he built for.
I'm not arguing about the world. He wanted to just arguing about the story.
He thought it was going to be like the new Star Wars. I remember when I was a kid. And then the funniest moment of my life, one of the funniest moments of my life, is that we're all sitting. Wait, it's good. This is similar. Is that we're all in a pool. We're at my friend's pool party, and then one of them goes, "Oh," and then we're all like, "Oh," and we're all.
We're all being mystics. Oh,
and I'm like, we're all fucking geeks.
Like, having heard crazy stories from your life, Steven, I just don't know if that's one of the funniest things that happened. Already, I've heard crazier things
and we all
than
just started doing it, and we all knew what it was for.
Now, TJ Duck has a good point. He thought I would have liked it, considering it got canceled. This is true. Everything that's just true.
But no, here's the thing: just because the things that Derek likes get canceled or are not popular does not mean that Derek likes everything that is canceled or unpopular.
It's not reflexive, right? Like,
it just means that if it is popular or uncanceled, that Derek doesn't like it. That one is the contra positive. That one's okay.
Okay, everyone, at the same time, everyone was watching. You gotta put your arms up too, because that's how
you gotta have a second set of arms.
I know. Well, we all gotta do it.
And then the crystal cracked. I love that movie. It's fantastic.
That movie is so dark and disturbing and gross. And that is the definition of an 80s kids movie.
I need to dig into it a little bit more.
That was a great movie.
I do need to dig into it a little bit more, because obviously the book is gorgeous. But I do need to dig into it a little bit more.
This book is amazing.
No. I'm going to say, I think that's the kind of same kind of vibe that like Dolemwood is hitting.
Oh, Dolemwood's hitting it too.
It's this kind of dark.
Now he's got you saying it, Derek.
Well, what's it supposed to be? I thought it was Dolemwood.
Dolmenwood.
Dolman.
It's D-O-L.
Dolman or Dolmen?
Yes, Dolmen.
As in like a dolmen. As in
like
an actual stone. It's not Dolem.
That's what I say. Dolmenwood.
I said Dolmenwood.
Right, you actually said Dolem that time.
Oh, okay. No, whatever. Dolem.
I say
maybe I did say Dolem. All right, yeah. Like Golem. Dolmen.
Dolmenwood. That's what I say.
Anyways,
Dolmenwood.
But it's not a dark fantasy. It's more of like a dark fairy tale.
It is,
and that's definitely the vibe of Dark Crystal for sure. But now that being said, Golemwood. That being said, I will say, Donald Wood. I like that. Is that. You can praise that book all you want, and you should, for its gorgeous art and its incredible hex crawl and its wonderful evocative story and all these cool little situations and neat little adventure sites. But please, the game is just BXD&D. Now, I'm not necessarily. I love BXD&D, but let's not act like by by reinventing the wheel for the 95th time. I don't care about
that. I'm buying it for the setting. I don't the game,
and that's fine. That's good.
I'm buying it for the adventure. I don't think
anyone was trying to say that the game was different.
I never said the game was good.
I've seen a lot of people saying it should be game of the year, and I don't think that's a fair assessment. If you want to call it product of the year, maybe, but it's not game of the year. I'm being pedantic here,
and that would be Draw Steel.
No, that's going to be Daggerheart.
I was kidding.
I see what you're saying, Derik, and that is the type of thing that is a Mark thing to say, and therefore I will agree with you.
Okay, great.
It is more of a setting, and it is a fantastic setting. And
you go inside of a worm, and they even have the fold out.
It's
you get swallowed by worm,
unapologetically not as much of a game of a different game.
Yeah,
that's not what makes it.
Agreed.
Was one of the most amazing products to come out this entire year, which it is.
Yes, but all I'm saying is, I think that Dolmenwood is beautiful. I think it's really neat. It's really cool. It has some strong like Mythic Bastionland vibes too, which I think is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And again, really cool. But yeah. So I before we go, because I do have to leave, I have to be there in 15 minutes. Jess did say, yeah, this aligns with my hater opinion. I love Jess's hater opinions. Jess, I would listen to Jess's hater opinions all the time. Jess, when are you going to come on my show? That's the real question. That a lot of different PBTAs are the equivalent of a setting book or adventure path book in the D&D or Pathfinder framework versus entirely new games. And that is mostly fairly true. I mean, it is just, it's just a different setting and you're using the same structure of rules.
Yeah, they're kind of a setting book, but more like a Lost Omens book, setting book, in that they have some mechanics. Maybe they'll have new playbooks, aka classes, in there. But yeah, that's not entirely wrong in the way that people think about things.
I was kidding. By the way, I don't think Draw Steel was game of the year. I don't even think Daggerheart is game of the year.
Well, we don't think Daggerheart's going to get game of the year.
I know. I think it will, but I think this is.
That's like what you think that Dolmenwood is the game of the year in addition to being the product of the year.
Yeah, that's not a game of the year. It could be the product of the year. It could be a setting of the year. It could be the adventure of the year.
I feel like
it's really good.
Even when we had him on, he was kind of saying that it is just a modified old school essentials. Which to be fair, old school essentials, like even though it's small and is based on something else, is a significant game in the OSR.
Yes, that is true, Jess. You did say that we should have a tip goal to get you a new camera. I did remember, because you're rocking a Logitech C920, which is disturbing.
The camera sucks.
Disturbing.
Disturbing.
It's disturbing. It's disturbing.
They find your lack of better camera disturbing.
Yeah,
wow.
Well, not number one. That game is that camera is like a decade old, if not more. So
I bought it 10 years ago.
Yes.
Well,
all
right.
TJ
You know
Duck,
what? Tomorrow. Tip goal: get Just a new camera.
No, I gotta complete my tip goal, which is get me a new Amaran Verge Max.
I have like 3 cameras sitting around here. The problem is it will cost me more money to send the camera to Canada
than
it will for me to actually just send just money to buy a camera.
Too long. Okay. Too long. Didn't watch. Okay. DungeonTube is well, I said everything I was going to say earlier in the stream, but basically everyone got fat on OSR and COVID views, and when those things went away.
You mean OGL?
Sorry,
or you actually mean OSR?
No, I'm sorry. OGL drama and COVID, lockdown, and as a result, when all those things went away and people suddenly realized that their audience of hundreds of thousands was actually still an audience of just like 10,000 people, their views dropped concordantly, and people lost their collective shit because they suddenly were basing their whole life along this elevated trend.
They may have quit their job during the elevated trend because they thought that meant that they could continue to have quit their job, and then found that they had to get their job back because it wasn't staying that high.
Or fired.
Yes. I was laid off.
Sorry, laid off.
Okay, but to be clear, I was laid off, this year. And so, Derik, it's no different than like, the AI bubble, and all these companies are spending billions of dollars and all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, but what's going to happen in a couple of years when everybody just, when that all pops? So I think
Jess
that
says she'll pick up a camera for you at the
I saw
con,
that.
Steven.
I saw that.
so
By the way,
my thought process is
I firmly believe the AI bubble will not pop. By the way,
all right.
I
think AI is here to stay.
No,
I do think that
it's getting more.
I do think
it's getting
that these
more
stocks,
and more.
these
It's
stocks are
actually-
very highly
Just
overvalued.
because it's here to stay doesn't mean it's not a bubble that can pop. For example, there was a .com bubble, right?
We
That
still
was
have
different.
internet.
We
That
obviously
was
still have
different.
internet,
Nope.
and
No,
.com
that
things
was
are
that-
very valuable.
No,
Okay.
not,
And on
Doesn't
that,
mean the
on
bubble
that-
didn't
different,
burst.
different,
and Mark,
very
and on
different.
that, with Mark is 100%
Very different.
correct on.
Wrong.
I'm going to say,
Very
I
different.
got to go.
Very
This was a lot of
different.
fun.
Wrong.
Remember, if you enjoy this kind of content, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We're here every Wednesday from 3 o'clock to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Additionally, tonight I will be playing some Final Fantasy 1 on my secondary channel, which is
did you
Knights of Last Call
finally decide to start playing that?
game night. I'm in my third session.
Yeah, he did that before.
Right. Well, I was there
So
for the
if
first
you want to
session.
watch me, you can follow me on Knights of Last
When's
Call.
your game session? What time?
I'm probably gonna play tonight after I get back from Wrecking Ball. So probably like
Okay.
8-9 o'clock.
Okay, I should
right.
probably do a competing stream.
There you go.
There you go.
Show your support. So, but all that being said, if you want to battle the zoo, you have to roll for combat.
Wow, he
Bye,
just
everyone.
he just took over the whole show.
There are a lot of mysteries in life. Who ate all my snacks? Why are women not impressed by my juggling? And what's a unique ancestry that I can bring to my next TTRPG game night? The answer to those questions are, I ate my snacks. They are impressed, but you should have a wide variety of hobbies and interests. And you can find unique ancestries with Battlezoo and their Year of Mysteries. Every month in 2026, Battlezoo delivers a fresh, bizarre, and lovingly unhinged ancestry straight to your inbox. Get ready to spice up your D&D or Pathfinder game faster than a wizard's bad life choices. Why settle for elves again when you can play as 13 unique and bizarre ancestries, such as a grumpy Sasquatch, a sea serpent with anger issues, or a dinosaur person, a guy ceratops, a girlosiraptor, a human saurus rex. You don't have to use any of these names, but you do get to play as a dinosaur with a great sword, and that seems awesome.
But Jack, this is the Year of Mysteries, so let's get mysterious. With each new ancestry, every month you'll also find a puzzle. Solve each and input the solution at Battlezoo.com to slowly reveal the year-long secret and become a seeker of mysteries. There's a leaderboard for puzzle solvers, and if you solve all 12, you'll earn a free prize as you unlock the final truth, as well as one last secret you can add to your games. What could it be? The color of my underpants?
Mine have pictures of fish on them. Head on over to yearofmysteries.com and start uncovering the clues today. I can juggle for a long time.